Mr. Primetime, we are back. Week 2. How you doing, man?
Hanging in, man. I've been wanting to come on here and talk for a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure that your video with Gase and Chris Johnson had a chance to make the rounds first before I gave my opinions, because you set Twitter ablaze with that one on YouTube, so good shit there.
You know what it is, though? You sit here, and, like, we're going to talk about this game shortly, but you sit there and you're like, you're trying to digest a bad loss, and you're like, all right, let's just the dust settle, everybody calm down. And then you have the head coach making excuses and justifying his performance and everything else, which is annoying. But for the owner to come out and say something like, dude, what are you doing, man? Like, it's week 1. Like, usually wait till it's like week 5, week 6. Like, when the season's spiraling out of control, that's usually when your owner comes on. But for him to come on, like, at the week 1 and talk about, like, giving the vote of confidence to his coach and, and call him and it's just being aware, dude. Like, if your team just basically shit the bed in epic fashion where you embarrass yourself in week 1, don't start throwing the word brilliant around. Don't start bragging about all this great stuff going on in your team. Like, be aware of what's going on. Like, easy. Like, you're making things worse for yourself. And that just shows you how unaware they are about everything that's going on. They are so worried about their appearance in the media and how they portray themselves to the fans. Like, that's the problem, dude. They worry about everything but the most important thing, winning.
Yep, I was just going to touch on that because I didn't even hear the quotes at first, because like anytime you have to address the media regarding your coach after one game, it usually shows that you're reacting to something. There's pressure on, you're feeling some level of concern. But then, like, once you actually saw the quotes themselves, like, he has your every confidence. He's a brilliant offensive mind. Like, that's the guy you're really trying to sell. What has he proven at this point to give you the audacity to try to sell that to the fan base? And it's like every time that ownership decides to open their mouth and speak, they just throw more gasoline on the fire and make things worse. Like, he would have been better off just not talking.
Yeah, I mean, it just shows you how insecure as an organization they are. And I understand that, they were supposed to have the press conference before the season and everything else. Just be aware of what's going on. Like, understand your audience, understand the state of your team, understand everything that's going on before you fire out this nonsense and present that. Because it just made things 10 times worse. Because for the next 3 days, there's a rebuttal. Everybody made a rebuttal telling you how bad your coach actually is with facts behind it. So that's the one thing. The other thing is, I guess we'll just start going into this game. Now, slowly but surely this week, I'm not going to lie to you, I was starting to sell myself how the New York Jets are going to beat the San Francisco 49ers.
Stop.
No, don't worry, it gets deeper. But then, lo and behold, the injury report comes back out, and we've talked about, if anybody followed the show, we talked the entire offseason about the 3 most important players on offense were Bell, Herndon, and Crowder. In terms of Sam Darnold and the offense flowing and how do you attack it? How do you get first downs? Now 2 of the 3 are gone. And Crowder, Crowder is your best receiver. Bell is probably your second. And now you have Herndon. This is a disaster. This is a bona fide disaster now because Adam Gase, with the full plethora of their weapons, couldn't do anything. Now you're taking away ones that are actually good. And now you're bringing in Manny, Mo, and Jack. And now it's so funny how, Braxton Berrios is sneaky good. How sneaky good? He has 6 catches in his life, dude. Like how sneaky good is he, man? Like, let's not saying he could easily replace Jamison Crowder. That's not true. And now you have Hogan, Berrios, and Perryman. Oh, and Frank Gore.
Yep.
Jet football, come get some, man.
Can't forget Frank Gore. Can't forget Frank Gore. Hey, we're getting P. Ryan back too. So again, if you watched that game last night, and I don't want to get off the injury report, but just for a second, like, if you watched that game last night, it was night and day between the way that Burrow was operating, going 37 of 61, 3 touchdowns, no picks. You watch Baker Mayfield, who, let's also get the argument of continuity out of the way. He's on his 4th coach in 3 years. So the idea of continuity is bullshit. If he's able to go out there, put up 35 points when he has weapons, why can't Sam do it if he has weapons? But you got to get him a fucking coach to be able to do it. So, like, the fact that these offenses with young quarterbacks are operating like that, even the one goal line where they had Burrow backed up inside his 1, you get out to the line of scrimmage, with like 25 seconds. He's doing the hard count, didn't work the first time, resets, hard count again, gets them off sides, buys an extra 5 yards. Like, little things like that as a coaching staff, you need to be able to do. And so now you take out Crowder, you take out Le'Veon Bell. This is a true chance for Adam Gase to show that he's an actual offensive genius. I don't expect it. But again, Berrios, he's been here for a full year. He knows the playbook. He knows the system. Why can't he go out there and replace Crowder? He should be able to. He's been around.
The thing is, too, is like you look at all these young quarterbacks. Look at Daniel Jones with the Giants. Like, he had command of the offense. He stood firm in the pocket. He threw great throws. Like, he made some throws. You're like, wow, shit, that's a quarterback throw. Like, that's the kind of guy, that's my franchise quarterback. Last night with Burrow. Dude, even Mayfield was playing his ass off. He was running around making plays, firing things, all fired up, rallying his team. You saw glimmers of hope. Like if you're a fan of the Browns, the Bengals, the Giants, Kyler Murray at the Cardinals running around doing all kinds of things, you're seeing a young quarterback play like, all right, I see something here. You may lose a game, but it's close. It's competitive. You say, okay, we have a building block here. We have a piece to our puzzle. Now you take away Crowder, which is basically his safety valve. You take away Le'Veon Bell, which is in theory your bell cow running back, even though Gase doesn't think so. And now you're right. Now it's this game is winnable, whether we want to believe it or not. It's winnable because the 49ers are decimated with injuries. We're in the same boat. West Coast team, 1 o'clock game. It's going to come down to defense. And how do you beat a defense?
You know what's going to come down to? It's going to come down to the two coaches because Kyle Shanahan has been there before. He's taken a Falcons offense to the Super Bowl. He took Matt Schaub to the Pro Bowl. He's proven that without his best players, he can make adjustments. He can do that. Adam Gase has yet to prove that, and that's going to be the deciding factor, not the defense.
Here's the deal, dude. But here's the deal. I'm tired of excuses. I'm tired of justifying losing. I'm tired of all these. We can't do it because week in and week out in the NFL, you see every other fucking team do it. Other teams face adversity and they make changes. You adapt, you adjust, you overcome. And this is what my problem was with Chris Johnson's little speech there. It's like, well, no playoffs, no this. We hope we do better. You lay the law down. I expect and I demand better from my team. Adam Gase in that locker room said, listen, I don't give a shit who's hurt. Next man up. Like, we have to find ways. It's week 2, man. It's not week 14 when you're packing your bags, getting ready to go off and go on vacation. You still have a full season ahead of you. Like, you win this game, you're still okay. Like, you can still find ways to hold your own, keep afloat, everything else. Like all the little football cliches you want to use here. But, dude, and now the pressure's on Gase. Because, dude, week 1 was your pass. Your team wasn't prepared and you were thoroughly outcoached. You embarrassed yourself. Now your owner came out and supported you. You better be watching film 24 hours a day, 7 days a week until Sunday to have some kind of rhyme or reason of what you're going to do, whether that means and again, we had the game plan last week, and we'll tell you this week. 2 tight end set. Ryan Griffin had chemistry with Darnold. Chris Herndon is a mismatch for certain linebackers. The 49ers are banged up. Yes, Sherman's out. Hey, you know what? Perriman got signed for a reason. He's making a good amount of money. How about you get him involved in the game plan? Like, everybody's got to start earning their paychecks here. Let's stop. Well, it's only his first game. We justify everything at this point, dude. They have enough playmakers to put together an offense because teams are doing more with less. I'm done with excuses, man. I really am. I don't give a shit who's hurt. No, find a way to put together an NFL offense. You're getting paid money. You were brought here to be an offensive coach. Act like one for a change.
I completely agree. And you're talking about setting the tone. It starts from ownership, but it also comes from Gase too. Why is he so relieved when a reporter brings up the fact that the Bills were a top 5 defense? He couldn't have been any more relieved. I'm glad you said that, because he wanted it to be known that we were facing a tough defense and we also had all the injuries and that he was not set up to win. Rather than put it on himself, own it, take accountability. No, he throws everybody else under the bus, like you said in your video. It's always somebody else or something else. It's never him. Yep. And so this is a perfect week, right? We're down, guys. Prove it. Go out there, have some kind of game plan. Get the guys to buy in. Get creative. Show us something.
Yeah, you can't come out like a bunch of zombies this week. I mean, now this game for me is a matter of pride. It's a matter of passion. Like, listen, you spent the last week getting destroyed by the fans, the media. Everybody's calling you one of the worst teams of football, including us. Like, I think they are too.
Yeah.
And now you added another injury where this Crowder injury could be the one where, like, you know what? I'm done, dude. Like, as a team, like, you know, we can't win this game. Now it's up to the leadership on and off the field, whether it's Gase, whether it's Steve McClendon, whether it's Frank Gore, Sam Darnold. This team can't quit. And we're going to see it Sunday, dude. You got to see, like, we talk about this new culture change. Show us the culture change, dude. Show us something on Sunday.
We saw it last year, the very first time that they faced adversity with Mosley out and then Sam Darnold got mono. They quit the next 3 weeks.
Well, Gase quit.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. They quit the next 3 weeks. They threw fails out there, and they were okay just giving those games away. So this is a new season. Like we talked about, it's supposed to be a new culture, all that. Exactly. So you still have your quarterback out there. You're putting Berrios out there, who's been in the system for a week. The Niners are banged up. There's every reason that you should be competitive in this game, but I still don't see it because the head coach is just a fucking buffoon.
No, and I see it. I think this could be a very competitive game because if they are destroyed by injuries, they're destroyed, dude. I mean, they're going to sign Mohamed Sanu, and he's going to probably play. They're doing the same thing the Jets are doing. They have no receivers.
We didn't need Sanu. Yeah, we didn't need.
But no, we didn't. We don't need receivers. We have all these practice squad guys we don't bring up. But Kittle's out, Sherman's out, the offensive line's banged up. Like they have, D Ford's probably going to play. He's banged up. Dude, it's going to come down to defenses going against weak offenses and the play calling on offense. And that's it. Like, this is going to come down, honestly, it's going to come down to coaching. It's not going to be the talent on the field. I mean, now keep in mind, they have an advantage on defense because their front seven is ridiculous with Bosa and Kinlaw and Armstead and all these guys. But there's no reason why the Jets should lay down here. They really shouldn't. And like, Berrios, listen, I was kind of making fun of him. He's a slot guy. He's got some speed. The Jets have some speed. You use Perryman. You use different things. But you can't mail this one in, dude. It'd be inexcusable at this point.
Even with the injuries, though, the Niners are a much better team, and they have such a better head coach. I mean, it's not even close.
1 o'clock game, West Coast team.
I don't care about that.
I do.
Why is that going to matter? Honestly?
And looking past the Jets because they think they suck.
They're going to take the same approach as the Bills. They're going to try and ground and pound us, and the defense, it's going to be similar to what we played or tried to play against Buffalo with Allen. They're going to be playing off, trying to force Garoppolo into a couple mistakes. I think he, like Allen, he can make a few mistakes, but he's not going to because they're going to be running the ball all day on us. I think
I'm not a Garoppolo guy, dude. Garoppolo, he makes mistakes, dude. He's not.
That's what I'm saying, though. But our defense is not good enough to force those mistakes. Who's rushing the passer? Who's stopping? Even Kendrick Bourne, Ayuk is playing his first game. Like, those are quality receivers, I think, at least better than what we have. Plus Sanu, even with Kittle out, they have Jordan Reed as their backup. Like, they've got some weapons.
That guy's always hurt.
Plus a better offensive line and their front seven too. I mean, they're going to take away our running game. They're going to force Sam into 3rd and long, and that's going to be their approach, just like Buffalo did. And I think the results are going to speak for themselves. I don't see how this is a competitive game. It should be based off of all the injuries, but I don't think we're going to keep it competitive.
I think you're going to see. I'm hoping. Like, I'm trying to find a positive here because, like, I can't be negative for another 14 weeks. So
you're ready for it.
So, the obvious matchup, is Becton, who apparently is healthy, with Nick Bosa. How does he handle Bosa? How do the Jets handle that pass rush? How do they handle the offensive line if it starts to melt? If they start getting a lot of pressure, do they make any adjustments, which they didn't do last week? How do they handle that? And then the opposite side of the ball is, Trent Williams looked very good last week. Can the Jets even get any kind of pressure? Because I'm not a fan of Garoppolo, but you can't let him sit there like Josh Allen did last week, just planting his feet and say, okay, somebody get open. Because even though the 49ers receivers aren't that great, I mean, they're a mixed match of guys. If you let them have 5-6 seconds, they're going to get open. So, and then they have the running backs come out of the backfield. You got Mostert and Coleman, and I like McKinnon.
Too. Yeah,
McKinnon. I wanted the Jets to sign him, but then he got hurt anyway. But I've always liked him with his speed. Yeah. So it's going to test the Jets' middle linebackers, which are decimated because they got injuries there because they're all out. I don't think Avery. They announced
he's questionable. So. Him and P. Ryan are both questionable. So
yeah, but if he does play, dude, coming off an injury like that, how much faith do you have in him?
Well, you gave him $3.5 million. You better have some faith.
Yeah, but coming off a hamstring injury, any kind of leg injury with speedy running backs, the only saving grace is they don't have a tight end. What is it? Ross tells his name, Ross Twelly. He's not a legitimate threat, which means he'll probably have 15 catches on Sunday. But I mean, the defensive, the game plan is gonna be like, listen, I think the game plan on both sides is the same thing: stack the box, stop the run, and let the quarterback beat you. Can Garoppolo beat you or can Sam Darnold beat you? And that's going to come down to the play of the quarterback and the play of the game planning. Like, how can the coach, and then obviously the advantage goes to Shanahan because Darnold or Gase is horrendous, but that's really, if you break down this game, that's what it is. It's
at this point, it's pretty clear that Sam Darnold's in his own head. I mean, I'm not trying to knock Sam at all. I think he has much more talent than Garoppolo, but he's clearly in his own head. And losing Le'Veon Bell and Crowder going into this game, that's going to restore his confidence? That's going to elevate him for this week?
He's got to man up, dude. He's got to man up.
I agree, but at the same time, your head coach has to at least create some opportunities, some easy throws for him to get into that rhythm and regain his confidence.
Well, that's what if you watch Burrow last night. Now, keep in mind, the defense is a lot better. Like the 49ers defense is better, the Bills defense is better, but he got the ball out of his hand now. Because the Bengals offensive line is terrible. It's worse than the Jets, but they got the ball out of his hand quick. And then when things started going out, they're rolling him out, doing all kinds of stuff. Offsetting the pass rush. Like, that's things we don't see from Gase. No. It's like it's always these little screens. Then the pocket collapses. He's getting his ass beat. So
it's always predictable, and Sam's always in 3rd and long, and that's the biggest problem. And if you're in 3rd and long with Bosa coming at you and Armstead coming at you, forget it. You're done.
Yeah, I'm real curious to see how they handle Becton, man, because this is a really, really difficult test. Now, let's not forget, while we're focusing on Becton, in my opinion, Greg Van Roten didn't play very well last week, and McGovern struggled as well. Like, Fant held his own, but I mean, what happens is we kind of sugarcoat things. We look past things. We want to focus on the quarterback, the coach, the receivers not doing things, but we're forgetting that the pocket was continuously collapsing. Like, Sam was getting pressured a lot. Then he got his happy feet. Then all these things happened. The 49ers front is ridiculous, dude. So if they had the same kind of pressure, will Gase adjust? Will Sam get the happy feet? Will he throw off the back foot again and pull all this other bullshit out? Because, dude, I'm telling you right now, watch our Twitter account. Within 10 minutes of this game, I can tell you what's going to happen. The way Sam handles the first 2 series in terms of his footwork and his fundamentals, you could tell exactly how the flow of the game is going to go. We knew it against Buffalo, dude. That first series, you're like, oh, here we go. He's missing wide open guys. He didn't look comfortable. Like, if you watch Burrow, he looks confident in the pocket. He had a command. Daniel Jones, dude, they have faith in their offense. They have faith in their teammates, and they have faith in their coach. And they stand there and make plays. Sam Darnold lacks all of that right now. And that rubs off on his teammates, but also rubs off on his performance.
Watching other teams, it feels like I'm watching a different sport, honestly. Like the way these other offenses are operating right now. I mean, we're several years behind the rest of the league as far as just having a competent offense that's tailored towards today's football game. So, with all the rule changes that favor the offense that were made years ago, we have still never taken advantage of that. We hire defensive coaches, and then we bring in the offensive genius who can't coach offense. So it is what it is, but I'm not looking forward to this game. I just think the Niners are a much better team. The only difference, I think, from the Niners defense with Buffalo, I think you have more opportunities to exploit their secondary. I think they're a little bit weaker than Buffalo. They don't have a Tre'Davious White back there with Sherman out, so I think that's your only chance. But again, the receiver.
How about Perriman earns his paycheck this week? How about he comes out of hiding?
Or
like, why not? Why not just demand more? Like, all right, listen, last week was your first week to get acclimated, and you got double covered, and nobody could do anything. This week, you can make plays. Like, you're allowed to make plays. How about we just expect more out of people? So we'll go to we got a bunch of comments on here. First of all, thank you, everybody, for watching these videos and supporting us. We greatly appreciate it. We're new to this whole live stream thing and all our videos, and we're having a lot of fun with it, so we appreciate it. We'll go to Rob. Rob, I think Gore can play well in this game. He hits the hole hard and doesn't dance. Hope. That's all we got is hope at this point. I mean, Gore does hit the hole quick. He's a bruising kind of guy. If you offset him with a Perrine, a Josh Adams, maybe. I don't know what this Balaj is from the Dolphins. I'm not really sure.
Well, Adams is back on the practice squad already, so they got to elevate him again.
Yeah, which they should, because I think he's a kind of shifty guy. But you need that complimentary guy for Gore. And the other thing is, how many reps can you even give him, dude? Are you going to give him 25 carries this week? Which, knowing Gase, he probably will because he's a prick. But I mean, can the offensive line match their strength in the trenches? Can you play ground and pound football against the 49ers? Can you accomplish that?
I don't think so, because again, just like last week, they're going to be looking for it. They're going to force Sam Darnold to beat you, especially now without Crowder in there and without Le'Veon Bell coming out of the backfield as that extra option. They're going to force you to throw the ball to Herndon, throw it deep to Perriman, and they're going to assume that Sam's going to make some mistakes. So I think they're going to look to take away the running game, and Gore's not really going to have much of a shot to get going. And like our next comment, I'd rather have Perrine starting in the backfield. Absolutely. It's just a matter of if he's healthy or not, how quick is he on the playbook? He's been out for the last few weeks. How good is the ankle at this point? But yeah, I'd much rather see Perrine out there if he's healthy.
Yeah, that's the whole thing. He said he's healthy. He wants to get the call. Then it's like, what kind of game shape is he in? And that's kind of the problem with him missing all this time is can he handle 15 carries and catch 4 passes out of the backfield? You mix in Gore. Like, it's got to obviously be a platoon, like a rotation, but you just know with Gase. Yeah. The whole key to this, though, is if you can have these guys catching passes out of the backfield. And that's the whole key, man. You can do play action pass, get it to them. Like, Perrine has that little extra burst. Josh Adams has it. I'm not going to discount Gore because he's a very popular player, but I mean, he's not going to take it to the house from the 18-yard line, So, use every resource possible, man. Like, you'd like to see him open a playbook here and say, "Listen, we are desperate for victory. We can't go 0-2 for a litany of reasons. Let's give it our best effort." Like, we walk away saying, "You know what? We gave it our best shot." Not some bullshit with excuses and some conservative vanilla play calling. Like, give it everything, man. And Perrine could be a part of that. He really could. Nothing.
Nope.
And this is going to be obviously the topic of the night. In the words of Joe Benigno, Adam freaking Gase. And that's it comes down to Gase first, Gase first Shanahan, man. That's really what it is.
Yeah, and that's why I don't have confidence. I mean, if we're just being honest here, there's nothing that we've seen from Adam Gase that shows not only when the team is fully healthy that he can coach it the right way and get the most out of Sam, but when he's facing injuries, when he's facing adversity, that's when this team usually goes in the tank. And he's got 20-something double-digit losses over the last few years. Like, those are the games you worry about. Meanwhile, Kyle Shanahan, he has proven that he can adapt. He has proven that he can get the most out of his offenses time and time again. And I think that's going to be the biggest difference in this game.
All right, next, we got a lot of comments, so bear with us, people. You Darnold apologists are really lying to yourselves. At least dude in left box, which is probably me, acknowledges Jones, Mayfield, Burrow can play at an NFL level, unlike Sam. Well, the only difference with that is those guys are in a much better situation than Sam Darnold is. Go ahead.
So Sam Darnold didn't play at an NFL level his rookie year when he was #1 in QBR over the last 4 games to finish the season with 11 touchdowns, 2 picks. He wasn't playing at an NFL level at that point. He has gone backwards since Gase has taken over. He has gone backwards since you've taken his weapons away, since he hasn't had an offensive line.
He doesn't play well as himself either, though.
No,
his decision making. Like, listen, we can blame Gase for a lot of things. We got to blame Sam for a lot of things too. He's played like shit.
It's not to excuse the individual plays where he fucks up, right? Taking the sack, instead of throwing the ball when he went out of bounds, that one play, can't excuse that. Throwing the ball across his body with the interception, can't excuse that. The individual plays you don't excuse. But again, why is he going the opposite direction with his progression? The plays that he's leaving on the field, he was making those plays as a rookie. So why isn't he doing it now? Why is he thinking so much instead of just reacting? Why, when he's playing well up-tempo, do we take that away from him? All these things, Gase is not setting him up for success. He could do more on his own, making some throws, making some plays here and there, but Gase is not doing him any favors, and the talent around him is not doing him any favors.
Listen, I can blame Gase for a lot of stuff. I'm not giving Sam a pass anymore. Like, the things I saw on Sunday, I will blame Gase for the play calling. You're missing wide open throws, taking that sack, inexcusable, game awareness, inexcusable, and he's got no confidence in the pocket. He's getting happy feet and he's playing nervous, period. Whether that's the result of not having any confidence in the game plan, not having confidence in the coaching, whatever it is, it's his problem too.
So that's on Sam.
Dude, they're both at fault. But Sam has some problems, man. Like, Sam at some point has got to be like, you know what?
Who do you expect more of, though? The 23-year-old quarterback or the 5th-year head coach who's supposed to know the offense?
Dude, sometimes you got to win in spite of your coach.
He was brought here for a reason. There will be like I
kept saying you gotta know, dude.
I kept saying this.
You're gonna say Sam doesn't have any responsibility to get better on his own. He does.
I kept saying all offseason, there will be one day Sam's going to put a team on his back and carry them. I believe that. But for right now, 23 years old, when he hasn't had any chance yet to succeed with what's been around him, expecting that out of him at this point.
You know what? Now, like, I'm not making excuses for that. I understand the challenging situation he's in. But if receivers are open and he's blatantly missing them, that's not Adam Gase's fault. That's Sam having a shitty throw. He's got to be a lot more consistent, a lot faster than he is. Now, it's great to have all these Jordan Palmer videos and all this great stuff. But when push comes to shove, the blueprint on Sam right now is pressure him. He will choke and make bad decisions. And he did it already week 1. So now he's got to start figuring out, listen, I got to understand how to function under pressure or I'm going to be out of the NFL because that's going to be the blueprint. Just pressure him. And he's going to melt.
So what goes on in practice means nothing. What goes on in the film room means nothing. The play calling means nothing.
Dude, it all means something. It all means something, but he's the one throwing the football.
So if that's affecting his confidence, where he knows that he doesn't have a shot going out there on Sunday, that's still all his fault? I like I said, I get it on the individual plays where he misses an open receiver and makes a stupid decision. We should judge him accordingly on that. But the bigger picture, he has not been set up for success.
But you know what, then? You know what you do? Listen, if you're in a sport and something is going wrong, and especially in a leadership position, you confront the coach. Listen, man, I'm not doing this right. Or you ask
for help. He did that last year.
But he does it all this fucking week then. Like, dude, I'm done with the Sam Darnold excuses. Okay, listen, I understand he's young. This is the NFL, dude. You either play or you get benched or you get out of the NFL. Like, he's got to man up and say, listen, you know what? I'm the starting quarterback. I need help. Fix my footwork. Let me make better throws. What am I doing wrong? As a leader, as a quarterback, he has to get the answers himself. He can't wait for it. Just sit on his ass. Okay, everybody come help me, and that'll fix me. He's got to fix himself too, dude.
Everything you just said was the reason that we were told Adam Gase was brought in here to do those things to elevate him.
Dude,
he has gone backwards since Adam Gase.
He went backwards on Sunday. You know what he does Monday morning? He sits in Adam Gase's fucking office and says, you know what? I need goddamn help. Make it happen. And if you can't help me, I will find somebody that will, and I'll make it known I'm not getting help I need. Like, that's what has to happen. Like, somebody's got to man up on this team and stop making excuses and say, who's the problem? This one. Where's the problem? That way. Everybody's pointing everywhere but themselves. So Sam has to own it. Gase has to own it. Everybody's got to own it.
And when
Sam starts with him, though, he's got to be better.
And when Sam talks to the media, he owns it. He says he needs to play better. He acknowledges
he needs to own it in the locker room. He needs to own it in the meeting room.
You don't think he does?
He's got to show it to me, dude.
I'm sure
what is he?
Adam Gase.
Well, if you're sure he does, where's the results then? I didn't see the results. What do you own? The only thing you own is, I played like shit. Okay, you own that?
Yeah, and he hasn't played since then.
So that's what I'm saying,
dude. And now look at what he's going out there with this week. No Crowder, no Bell. He's throwing to Chris Hogan, Braxton Berrios.
Find a way. Make guys around you better. Make better throws. Find a way to win a football game.
If Gase's system is not allowing him to do that, What do you expect?
Dude, how many?
If he's out there for 18 minutes a game,
so now we're to the point where Gase is actually holding the football and actually throwing it too. At some point, Sam Darnold's got to be a fucking man and make plays, dude. Like, stop. We can't apologize for everything he's doing. Man up and make the guys open, hit him. Stand in a pocket, get smoked, get back up, and throw the football. If you see pressure, roll out and throw the football. Let's not blame Gase for the way Sam Darnold ties his sneakers now, too. Like, the kid's got to grow up, dude. This is the NFL. Gardner Minshew can do it. All these teams, Joe Burrow last night, offensive line sucks. He's making throws. Everybody's playing better but Sam.
And how many easy throws did Burrow have to make last night? There were a lot of them. Guys were wide open. Easy throws.
How many did Sam miss last week? Starting in the first quarter, he missed 3.
Yeah, and how many chances did he have? Easy throws throughout the game.
Okay, listen. If you miss two throws on your first series, guess what? You're punting. You make one of those throws, your drive continues.
And he was in 3rd and long almost all game. He was free.
He missed the first 2 throws. The guys were wide open. He threw in the sideline.
Yeah, and Crowder had a huge drop in the first quarter also that would have had a first down. It was a litnity of errors. It wasn't just Sam. And again, I'll say it for the 5th time. I'm not excusing the wide open.
You're becoming a fucking a Gase hater, a Darnold fucking apologist.
I'm not.
Darnold's like invincible now. He's perfect. He makes no mistakes. He's got to own his issues too, man.
For the 6th time, I'm not excusing the wide open receivers that he misses or the rookie mistakes that he's making. I'm just pointing out a simple fact. What's around him, including the head coach, have sucked.
If he has done more.
If
Barrios is open, hit him. Simple. Make the game plan simple. Hit open receivers. Then half these problems go away because then you can put together a sustainable drive.
And as a head coach, if you give him more opportunities to do that, he can actually get in a rhythm to do that.
I mean, that's fine. But this game, I'm not giving Sam a pass for his game. Like, now the excuse, well, he's got no weapons. Listen, you're lining up with players, throw them the goddamn football. If they're dropping it, fine. Make the plays. Make them make the mistakes, not you.
If the defense knows you're not throwing the ball beyond 10 yards, what do you expect?
Listen, you can run quick slants, man. That's what did Joe Burrow do last night? It was what? 3-step drop, boom, ball's out of his hand. How hard is it?
And I bet they practice that every day in practice. What does Sam do in practice? What are we doing in the film room? Because nothing that we're doing.
I'm not giving Sam built-in excuses for this game. I'm expecting him to play very well.
I'm not giving Gase built-in excuses.
Dude, nobody should have him. I'm expecting him to fucking win on Sunday. There's no reason why you mail this game in. Like, you know what? Another loss. Same old Jets. We suck. No. Expect more. Because guess what? Sam's got 15 more games to prove what the fuck he is right now.
I expect more. I'm just being realistic.
Dude, I'm expecting more. I'm being realistic too. Like, they have no excuse why they shouldn't play better this week. They were shitty last week, dude. They embarrassed themselves.
But you're acknowledging
a forward pass.
But you're acknowledging this is a bottom 5 roster right now, right?
I'm acknowledging that this team can be competitive this week against the 49ers. That's destroyed by injuries.
Right now, the current roster with what's on IR and everything else, this is a bottom 5 roster. You would agree?
They're middle of the pack. They can be competitive on Sunday.
Middle of the pack?
Middle of the pack.
This roster.
Dude, are you scared of Jimmy Garoppolo, dude, with no receivers? Seriously?
I don't care about Jimmy Garoppolo. I'm saying the Jets.
We're playing the game on Sunday. Why am I comparing the Jets against the Ravens? They're playing the 49ers. They're playing a 49ers team that's decimated by injuries.
You think the Jets roster right now is middle of the pack?
I think this Jets team can beat the 49ers on Sunday. That's all I'm worried about. I don't give a fuck about anybody else. Like, are we going to talk about week 16 and week 2? Why are you worried about the Ravens? You're worried about everybody else. Worried about the 49ers.
I'm not worried about anybody else. I'm just saying.
Who cares? They have enough talent on the field this week to be competitive, and there's no reason why they shouldn't.
I don't think so.
Why not? Dude, is Perriman an NFL receiver? Is Chris Herndon an NFL tight end? Can they not scheme? Chris Hogan's played. Barrios is supposed to be decent. You scheme them open, they catch the pass, you make an offense out of it. And if Sam Darnold is worth any kind of shit, make some plays. Make players around you better. Like, why do we got to mail it in? Dude, we watched Duck Hodges play well last year. All these shitty quarterbacks, Matt Barkley, all these clowns can do well. Gardner Minshew came out of nowhere, played well last year and this week. But now Sam Darnold, nope, he's got no weapons. 100 yards of offense, we're screwed.
Look who's coaching them. Look what's around those guys. It's night and
day.
Excuses,
man. I expect more from everybody. I'm not mailing this one in. They should win this game. So, next comment. Watching film has done nothing for Gase. He'll need to watch other teams' film for us to win. No arguments here, man. This is his week. Like, he wants to be snippy with the media. He wants to have all these arguments, and now he has the best owner in the world and all these great things going on. Show it to us on Sunday that you're going to have guys in motion and do things. And feed your goddamn tight ends.
And that's what I'm saying. That the idea that we're putting all this pressure on Sam and not more on Gase is fucking ridiculous to me. If one guy
they're both under the gun.
But why should
you have to have a good game plan and Darnold has to play well? They're tied together, man.
In year 3, with what he's been set up with, from Bowles to Bates to Gase to Loggins, with the wide receivers he's working with, the offensive line that he had last year, in week 2 to be putting all this pressure on him, saying it's make or break. We talked all offseason how ridiculous that was.
Wait, so now I can't say I want to see Sam Darnold play well on Sunday? I'm not allowed to do that now?
That's obvious. We want to see him play well.
That's all I'm saying.
How realistic is it? How realistic is it?
It's very realistic. It's NFL football, dude. What do you do? Say, okay, now just mail it in? Should we not even show up? Just cancel the game? Sorry, Sam. You know what? Let's not. You know what, Kevin? You know what? Let's not even play Sam. Let's play David Fales so we don't get Sam hurt, and we don't want to hurt his feelings. He only complete 8 passes.
Well, you said that on Twitter, not me. So,
but that's the whole mindset now. It's like, oh, we gotta be worried about Sam. We can't do this. We can't do that. Why not? Just do it. Make excuses. The culture we have now is just losing. It's a loser mindset. Where we justify all the things. All we know is all the things that can't happen. That's all we know.
Exactly.
So why not make them happen?
I hope, but again, hope in one hand, shit in the other. Which one's going to fill up first, right? Adam Gase has had 4 years to learn from mistakes. At what point has he shown an ability to adjust, to adapt, put his ego aside, and say, you know what?
Better show it this week.
I agree.
Next comment. No Crowder, Bell, Mims. Get ready for the 3rd and 9 bubble screens of Chris Hogan. 2nd and 11 halfback draws to Frank Gore.
Yep.
That's the concern. That's
exactly
the concern.
Exactly. And if that's happening, what exactly do you expect from Sam Darnold, honestly?
Oh, I mean, if it's run, 3rd and long punt, like it's been the last year and a game, then that's already speaks volumes of what our problem is. Because the last thing you want is but if they come out and you throw a quick slant on 1st down and Sam actually completes the pass like he didn't do last week, that changes everything. But don't put him in 3rd and long every 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11, 3rd and 12 every series. Because he's gonna get decapitated.
I agree.
I agree with you, Kevin. Relieved is the right word. Gase last when injuries are brought up too. Yeah, I mean, Gase's press conferences are a joke now. Like he is so arrogant and so stubborn. It's beyond me how he's so not a leader of men or respect the guy in the locker room. And it's obvious at this point.
It's nauseating. Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. And to think that guys in that locker room are actually buying in.
They don't respect him.
No, and that's why you worry a little bit. A guy like Crowder, he's making a lot of money this year. What reason does he have to go out there right now if his hamstrings even, just nicked a little bit where he could still play? I mean, at some point you see all these injuries that have followed Gase year in and year out. Like guys can see through his bullshit. Like why am I going out there risking my career, risking a future paycheck for him when he throws me under the bus?
Next comment, Michael. The Jets came out so flat and lifeless in week 1. They need to show you a pulse this week. 1,000% agree. Like if this team has any pride or any integrity or any belief in their organization or their season, you see it on Sunday. You can't come out like zombies. You can't.
You know where I want to see a pulse
on defense too. By the way,
I was just gonna say I want to see a pulse on defense because we've talked enough already about Gase and Darnold. I want to see a pulse on defense because without Kittle out there, Niners are a little bit banged up. No Deebo Samuel, he's on IR. You should be able to force Garoppolo into some mistakes. Last week, the arm tackles and all that bullshit. Like you gave Josh Allen so many opportunities, and that's not a Bills offense that should have been putting up 50 points like they could have in that game. So come out, make some adjustments this week. Greg Williams put together some exotic blitzes, try to force Garoppolo into some mistakes. I think we're going to need, a defensive score or a special team score if we expect to keep this game close, and that's what it's going to take.
Yeah, you got to see a better performance out of Pierre this year. You want to see – apparently Quinn Williams had a great week last week. I didn't see it. I don't know. I saw all the PFF rankings, and I still don't understand how that comes about. I don't understand half that stuff. But you got to see the defensive line do their thing. Watch the running backs out of backfield catching the ball. Mostert, McKinnon, Tevin Coleman, all these guys. But, dude, for the most part, we were so pissed off at Gase and Sam last week. Greg Williams kind of skirted by when they're getting their doors blown off, and everybody's praising Marcus May for how great he played. But meanwhile, the guys are running free and doing whatever they wanted and no sacks whatsoever. Now, Garoppolo's not as mobile as Josh Allen is, so he's definitely hittable. You can definitely rattle him a little bit. He gets a little erratic as well. But, dude, they've got to set the tone too. And that's the one thing last week. There was no tone set. It was 3 and out on offense. Well, no, penalty, then 3 and out, and then the defense melted. You got to see a much different effort on both sides of football and establish your own tone where it's like West Coast team, 1 o'clock game, maybe jet lag, maybe looking past the Jets, even though they need to win badly. Everybody's saying the Jets suck. They're, all this stuff. 49ers would be kind of confident. Take advantage of it. Smack them in the mouth your first series, ground the pound, hit Garoppolo, do all this stuff and establish some kind of momentum.
Stop trying to convince me this is going to be a close game.
It is going to be a close game. Until there's pressure on Gase to win, he won't feel the need to do something different. Well, that's on ownership. That press conference on Monday.
And exactly. And what pressure does Gase feel now? Because he was just told that he's a brilliant offensive mind.
Ridiculous. I'll never understand it. I'm not going to. I mean, if you want to know my opinion on this, go on our 2 videos ago. I blasted ownership, Douglas and Gase. Go enjoy that for a little while.
That's putting it nicely.
Yeah, I mean, I never. Yeah.
But you know,
whatever.
The one reason he might feel some pressure is because no matter what Johnson says, the fact that he had to go address the media after week 1, that says a lot. He's responding to some pressure there. He's responding to what the fans are saying. So that should have Gase a little bit on the hot seat.
Next comment, Bosa versus Becton.
I'm excited for that.
It's a good test. It's a very good test for the rookie. Bosa is one of the best players in football. Dynamic pass rusher, can bring it all. And the question is, it's not as if Becton can hold his own, it's how do they help him? Do they have a running back in the backfield? Do they give him tight end help? Do they roll the pocket? Do they move things around? How do you tire Bosa out? Not tire him out, but just get him frustrated and kind of suck the wind out of him a little bit where he's not continuously getting in the backfield. Because once he smells blood, dude, he knows he can get through. I mean, Sam's in deep shit then.
Yeah, a constant theme, it seemed like under Todd Bowles, was that anytime that we were facing a top pass rusher, that guy was always one-on-one against, whoever was our weakest offensive lineman, and we didn't make any adjustments. We didn't have a tight end into chip, a running back into chip. We didn't do any of those things. So at this point, you should kind of know what you have in Becton, and if early on he's getting beat, make sure you have, your plan B ready with, Griffin or Wesco or whoever.
That magical adjustments word.
Yeah.
As crazy as this sounds, I don't think Gase wants a healthy team because it gives them an out, same as Miami. Well, this goes back to that video again. That's what pissed me off about Chris Johnson's goddamn comments. He goes, if we have a healthy team, I think we could be competitive. The time he's saying that, at the same time he's saying it, Mims, Bell, and Cashman are all out after all the other injuries we already have. Like, we don't have any, as he was talking, the team wasn't healthy. It wasn't like we were fully loaded. It just shows you how clueless Chris Johnson is. He's a buffoon. And it's like that built-in excuse, and that's my biggest fear 10 weeks from now, is we keep dropping like flies, and like, listen, man, we can't be competitive. We weren't healthy. And then, dude, I will blow my mind. I will just be out of my tree with that then.
Well, that's why I feel like this game, his approach is just going to be, let's try to survive. As terrible as that is, week 1, when you're only 0-1, we saw it last year. Without Sam, they were just trying to survive and get through those games.
He quit last year.
Exactly.
They literally quit.
They weren't trying to win. So what's his approach going to be now? Without, his top 2 weapons out there, what's his approach going to be this week?
Next question. Why are all of Adam Gase's team's players always injury prone? What is he doing in practice? Well, didn't he fire the coach, the very highly reputable coach, the same coach that had everybody healthy under Todd Bowles' teams and everybody else?
Yep. That the Jets trainer had been here, I think, at least 15 years, because I remember on Twitter, guys like Marvin Jones, I think a few others, were praising him, and they never had injury issues yet. Adam Gase says, no, it was your fault. So, okay, we bring in a new staff, and yet here we are, training camp. We were talking about injuries every single week. Week 1, we lose Crowder, we lose Cashman, we lose Bell. So,
all right, primetime, you got to talk. I just spilled my drink all over the place, so you got to talk for 2 seconds. How you got me pissed off, dude? You and your shitty Gase takes, man.
That's your fault. Play with some damn pride. Seriously, I completely agree. Especially in week 2, there's no reason at this point that this team can't come out with a little bit of pride, especially when you're talking about a team that's so young. A lot of these guys are fighting for contracts. You brought a lot of guys back that are on one-year contracts, guys like Poole and Jenkins. So these guys, in theory, you would think they all have something to play for. They're all trying to earn a contract. They're all trying to make their name in the NFL. So at the very least, they should have some individual pride. I think it's just a matter of whether or not, Gase can actually motivate them. On the defensive side of the ball, yes, I think they all respect Greg Williams and they're going to play hard for him. But offensively, I don't know.
So let's see. We'll go back. Good job, primetime. Gase only used two tight end sets 6 times in game 1. They really need to take advantage of Herndon and Griffin. That was criminal last week. And that was, if you watched our previous show last week, it's like what we talked about. Like the Jets on the outside, they have Perriman, who was actually double teamed. You have Crowder on the inside. They kept using Hogan, wherever else. Herndon and Griffin were your mismatches. Those are guys that Sam feels comfortable with, that can actually stretch the field, take advantage of the linebacker safeties, and they didn't even use them. And then Herndon fumbled, obviously, which made you want to break every chair in the house. But
And why not use Wesco also? I mean,
might as well.
He was getting some nice reviews out of training camp as one of the more improved players. Get him involved. He could play, fullback, H-back. And even on the other side, Ashton Davis, we were hearing all about him in training camp. Not one rep for him on the defensive side of the ball. Braxton Berrios, he didn't see one snap at wide receiver. So it's hard to figure out, how they game plan for certain things.
Next comment. I think they might have a better running game without Bell. I don't think he fits Gase's system. You know what, Mike?
That's the fucking problem. That Gase does not adjust his system to a Hall of Fame caliber play. Did you hear Damian Woody's rant the other day?
Yep.
They turned one of the best players in NFL history as far as yards per game into a scrub who does nothing now. And now he's hurt. Like, that's what they turned Le'Veon Bell into. Nothing. Because he doesn't fit Gase's miraculous system. Fucking ridiculous, man.
No, and that's the thing. And you know what the thing is that Gase is very arrogant, and he'll make Gore productive. Like, he will find a way to make Gore to say, I told you so.
He
Like,
did it with Howell last year.
Yep. So listen, I think I wouldn't be surprised, but I'd also honestly, I'd like to see P. Ryan do something, Josh Adams, like let's get the running game going, man. You get the running game going, it just changes so many things for you. Play action pass, it time of possession, it does so many things. So, I mean, we'll see. Let's see. We got a lot of comments here. Primetime, you're getting roasted, man. Bring
them on. Bring them on.
Coaches ain't the ones playing. That's all you, man.
Oh, so we're gonna excuse the game plan last week. Lack of creativity, lack of tempo, lack of adjustments, all of that's all on the players. And again, nobody is saying that these players are good, but at least show that you can get some more out of them. If you're this true offensive genius, this offensive brilliance that Chris Johnson's talking about, show that you can get something out of this group.
Greg Williams has to do the same thing too, though, man.
I agree. I completely agree.
Is Avery Williamson playing? I guess he's going to be a game time decision. I guess that's where it's at right now with him.
Yeah, it sounded like, I think it was Costello that was on today. He made it sound like Williamson was leaning towards playing, but I still think it's going to be a game time. He's questionable right now. But yeah, I mean, with Cashman out, I think they definitely need him out there.
We got to get pressure on Jimmy G. Then he panics. The only problem is who's getting past Trent Williams? Is it going to be Jordan Jenkins? How you going to do it? Or do you get the opposite side? I mean, they got some pretty good linemen. No,
I completely agree. And the Niners are probably saying the same thing about Sam. Get pressure on him. He panics. So,
yep. We got Jimmy G doesn't have Allen's legs, though. You can blitz him more freely. And they don't have, and also keep in mind, Josh Allen also had Stephon Diggs, John Brown, and Cole Beasley. Jimmy G doesn't have none of them either. He had Dante Pettis and Kendrick Bourne. And
Kendrick Bourne's a good receiver. Don't underestimate him. He's a good receiver.
I mean, but it's like, you got to worry about Diggs and all these, Singletary out of backfield and everything else. So let's see. We'll keep going here. Again, thank you everybody for joining us. We appreciate it. We're new to this whole live stream stuff. Gase can draw up a good play and Sam Darnold will throw up a duck. Watch. Well, I mean, I hope not, man. Listen, we're all. Listen.
See, you know what though? When Gase does draw up a good play, like on the 5 or 6 occasions that it does happen throughout a game, on the 18 minutes when Sam Darnold's out there, you can understand why he feels pressure to make a perfect throw because it doesn't happen often. And again, I'm not excusing it, but like, dude, he has so few opportunities to make legitimate big plays or even easy throws where guys are running in space. Like, he doesn't get that. How are we building up this kid's confidence? We're not. It's so criminal, dude. I hate it.
If it's going to come down to the coaching, then we're going to get smoked from Jeremy. I mean, Shanahan versus Gase is not much of a challenge, but it's really Shanahan versus Greg Williams. How can Greg Williams, come up with some good game plans? Like you said, you know what you're up against. Stop the running game. Stop the running backs out of backfield. They throw the ball to the running backs a lot out of backfield. No Kittle makes a big difference. I mean, Greg Williams could probably be a little more aggressive and see what happens. I mean, you got to see, do they start the year? Does he play well? Bless Austin played well last year. Harvey Lange, if anything.
Where was Arthur Millette?
Yeah, Arthur Millette. But the other thing, too, is, the middle linebacker, we really haven't talked about them a lot. Harvey Lange been in there. They're going to get tested a lot, man, because this could be a lot of running backs, a lot of screens, a lot of passes out of backfield. They're going to have to go sideline to sideline.
Yeah, and that's one area I worry about with the Niners 3 backs and, the ability to do some misdirection and things like that. That's where I think we're going to get beat.
Let's see. We got a lot of oh boy.
Bring on the hate. Don't hide it.
Reminder that Sammy's younger than Burrow. That's true. But he's also been in the league a couple of years.
Yeah, look what he's been fed. Look what they've been putting into his head.
I watched the all 22, and honestly, the line was more than serviceable. Sam played absolutely horrible. I mean, you can't argue with that.
I'm not saying he didn't. I'm not saying he didn't play bad.
I mean, I think as a team, they came out flat and unprepared. They just seemed like they were thoroughly outcoached. They didn't have the energy and passion you thought they would have week 1. And then just all kind of went just all melted on them. It just all just trickled down. They couldn't get out of their own way for a good portion of the game. Yeah. So a lot of Darnold hate on here, man. Woof.
Dude, that's so 1 week. 1 week.
What has Darnold been able to work with? I know Darnold could be better, but it's so hard to succeed in the situation he's in. But you're the guy being a Gase apologist. Nobody's apologizing for Gase. We're saying they
Sounds
both
like.
are. What's that?
That's what it sounds like.
No, I'm holding Sam Darnold accountable. Like Gase has to be a lot better.
But
Sam as a player has to do better. He has to.
Yes, but how much can we hold him accountable with what he's working with? Like, it's a legitimate question.
Okay, I get it, dude. The game plan has to be better. And when the right play is called, make the fucking play. Don't sail the ball to the sideline. Don't take a sack. Don't fall off your foot. Don't trip over your shoelace. Make the throw, complete the pass. If you only get 15 opportunities, complete 11 passes. Like, get the ball done, get the job done. Like, that's it. Like, that's just, he has to do it. Like, there's no more, we can't baby him anymore. We got, the kid was rusty. The whole team was rusty. But why? But here's the problem. Why was Sam Darnold rusty and the rest of the NFL, especially even rookie quarterbacks and everybody else, just cruising along like there's no problems?
Well, I guess I'll give one bit of optimism here. I guess is that Baker Mayfield in week 1 only, what did they put up, 6 points against the Ravens, a good defense, and
terrible.
Exactly. So on short rest, they came back, they made the adjustments against a lesser defense, obviously, than the Bengals are compared to the Niners. But he's throwing in some weapons there, and they made the adjustments. They made it work. He made it look easy last night. So you hope for the same thing this week. You had a full week of practice. Figure out what your mistakes were, come up with a creative game plan, and get the most out of Sam this week.
Yeah, I mean, in theory, if Adam Gase is supposedly this workaholic, this guy that can never leave the office, he should be studying the tape endlessly. Like, listen, we made all these mistakes, and now when you self-scout like he supposedly did last year, which he never did, he's going to realize, okay, this play didn't work, I adjust this, I fix this. Like, that's in theory what any coach should do, and he should probably do it this week too. But all right, listen, and then you sit down with Sam and say, okay, listen, what plays work for you, what plays don't work for you? Do we have the personnel to run this play? Do we not have this personnel? Like, how do we handle this? You act like a real team.
He doesn't do that, though. He waits for Sam to come to him like he did last year.
Well, we don't know, man. Maybe things have changed. We have no idea what's changed or not changed. That's what should be happening during the week, though.
That's what should be happening. And that's what happens with probably 30 other teams in the league.
Do you really think a Baker or Josh Allen or Burrow can perform under Adam Gase?
Nope.
I mean, probably not. I mean, you look at what the problem is. You look at what other teams are doing, and the one thing I want to do is I want to thank all the Buffalo Bills fans that have been following us and chiming in. I probably talked to more Bills fans over the last 3 days than I talked to in my whole life. But you watch how the Buffalo Bills built around Josh Allen with good receivers, smart game plan, good offensive line. Kyler Murray, give him DeAndre Hopkins had 14 catches last week. All these, even Lamar Jackson, they catered the offense to Lamar Jackson to make him do what he does best. All these, even Daniel Jones. What they do, they did hurry up offense, quick throws, nice pass to Slayton. And then it's how do they do this with Sam? So now you say, would Adam Gase maximize Lamar Jackson? I'd have no faith in that. Would he maximize Kyler Murray? I have no faith in that. So it's a fair point. It's just, it's not ideal.
And that's my biggest point. And that's the bigger picture here that I think everybody should be looking at before we're so quick to knock Sam, which again, 7th time. He's made some bad throws. He's made some rookie mistakes.
Sam is knockable, dude. He played like shit.
I understand that.
He's got to play better. That's a fact.
But everything you just said, all those quarterbacks that are playing better, they're playing better for a reason because of what's around them. You put those players in.
Excuse errant throws and bad game awareness.
You put those players into the Adam Gase offense with the receivers that he's throwing to now. What are those guys going to be doing?
They're all pro receivers. They're not 3 rookies.
Where's their confidence level going to be at?
Make plays, man. Perryman got brought here for a reason. He got here, in theory, he's our number 1 receiver. Why not use him?
In theory, he's been a number 1 wideout.
What am I supposed to do? This is what he came here for. He's a legitimate NFL receiver. Why can't he catch passes? Herndon is supposed to be this breakout player that every fucking Jets fan's been talking about all offseason. Herndon is a breakout star. Okay, well then now is your time to show it to us. Get open when somebody's on you. Get open. These guys are here that people have talked about. Why not use them? Perryman, Herndon. Then you have your running backs. Find ways to get them the football and move around. Like use people. Like you got to do something, man. I'm not competing the game.
Trying to sell me on Perriman, though. I mean,
dude, that's what he's here for. I
don't know.
It will depress me watching Bosa wreck the game and Quinnen be non-existent. I hope I'm wrong. I mean, this is the kind of game where you want to see your defensive line, knowing that there's not really a legitimate outside threat at wide receiver, when you can literally pin your ears back and go after Garoppolo in the running game. You want to see Quinnen Williams do something. Like, sooner or later, he needs a breakout game. Like I said, I don't understand how Pro Football Focus and all these people evaluate defensive linemen. I just go by. I'm just a fan, dude. Like, I drink and just watch football. I don't understand how he got ranked like top 10 for pressures or some shit. Like, I didn't see that at all.
No, I didn't either. But again, when you're a number 3 overall pick, there's certain expectations that come with that. We saw all the impact plays that Bosa made last year. At some point, Quinnen has to elevate his game and start doing those things.
Darnold needs to grow up. It's time to play big boy quarterback. I agree.
So get him some big boy wide receivers and get him a big boy head coach.
A whole new book of excuses. Kids got to make plays, man. Make the guys around you better. Throw catchable footballs. Throw good passes. Let them drop it and blame the receivers.
How long did it take Alex Smith to do that? I'll answer that.
Shit about Alex Smith. I don't care about him.
I'm just saying, a quarterback that has talent. He didn't do anything his first 6 years in the league. You finally got him Harbaugh, and guess what? He took that team 13-3 playoffs. Like, at some point, you have to acknowledge what's around him is shit. And so expecting him to elevate everybody as a 23-year-old, it's not realistic. Again, make the throws that are there, but expecting him to be doing what other quarterbacks are doing right now that are running competent offenses with a head coach that's, working up tempo, doing creative things. We're not doing those things. We're not.
49ers got a frontline running game. Ain't going to be easy. No, it's not going to be easy. They're coming off a loss. They need this victory. No doubt about that. They're decimated with injuries. Their wide receivers are Shanahan's not stupid. He's going to test every facet of our defense to see how he can make plays. And unlike Gase, when he finds a hole, he's going to keep going to that hole until we stop it. So obviously the game plan is stop the running game, stop the running backs out of backfield, and get after Jimmy Garoppolo. And that's your key to keeping this game close. I mean, the line of scrimmage is going to be paramount in this game, especially with the Jets could probably man up on the outside in theory.
No, I agree. And that's going to be the toughest part, stopping their running game, stopping their backs out of the backfield. Even without Kittle, that's going to be a huge challenge. And not having Cashman, also one of your better coverage linebackers, that's going to be big also.
Thank you again for everybody watching. Scary, that's what Darnold is going to be nothing because of this team. I mean, that's a conversation that we're going to have this entire season is the demise of Darnold if this continues, and hopefully it doesn't. I mean,
that's why I hate that we're having this conversation. Like, dude, putting all this pressure on him when we've acknowledged all offseason, like what a shitty situation we've put him in. So after one game, acknowledging that he played bad, but putting all this pressure on him that, if you don't get it corrected this year, you might be out like that. That's just so unfair to the kid.
It's not so much that Herndon and Griffin are great. It's that Sam has chemistry with both of them. Well, Herndon didn't play last year, so he doesn't have that much chemistry with them, but he had a lot of chemistry with Griffin. I mean, listen, you got to find the way. You got to find a way to get the football in these guys' hands, and they've got to get open for him. Perriman was doubled a lot last week. I mean, Herndon had a terrible fumble. I mean, you just got to – I mean, Berrios, like you said, man, Berrios was here last year. He had that terrible drop against the Bengals. I still hate him for that. But, hey.
Yeah, I mean, Griffin definitely has some chemistry. And even Herndon, like, he's been here the last 2 training camps fully healthy, 3 if you count this year. So, I mean, even though he missed all of last year as far as the regular season goes – he's been around for the last 3 years, and he should have some chemistry with Sam. So he's been one of his favorite targets every offseason. So
now this next comment is from Daniel Ciccarello, who had our best call of the year on Tuesday night. Dan had an excellent call. He had our feedback from the show was that was the best call I've ever heard. Yep. The comment is we should all take shots every time Gase calls a bubble screen. Everyone down?
I'd be drunk by the second quarter.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to. Yeah, we'd be blind. There's no way around that. I mean. So you got next comment. Sam Darnold has to throw the ball to keep defense honest. And no doubt about that. I mean, we talked about it. They're going to stack the box and say, okay, Sam Darnold, you beat us, and we're going to play the same game. Jimmy G, you beat us. And who makes the plays? And
that's where I think we missed Robbie Anderson tremendously in week 1, not having that deep threat that, can keep the safeties honest. I didn't think Perriman provided that. Maybe he does in week 2. He's a little more healthy this week. But in week 1, it just didn't seem like we had that.
Sam was so much better in his rookie year. He needs to settle down or he's done upstairs. We both said that. He played so much better under Bates, and he's playing with absolutely no confidence whatsoever. His body language is terrible. He's got no swagger. He sits on the bench and his head's down. You're like, dude, you think he's like demoralized. Like his life is sucked out of him. So that's
exactly. He knows what he's working with. He knows, the system probably isn't going to succeed, even though he's tried to defend Gase, week after week. I think he realizes now at a certain point, like he can't keep defending this or else, he's going to go down with it. So
next comment is just May, and that's Marcus May, who had a phenomenal game last week. He took over that Jamal Adams role, was flying around, sacks, defending passes. He did it all. The question with May is, can he stay healthy and keep playing that way? And he needs help around him. And you mentioned it last week or this week is no Ashton Davis didn't play at all, which was surprising based on the speed he brings to the table. You had McDougald, but I think where they struggled the most was the corners didn't play well at all. And they gave such big cushions, dude. It was such a soft zone
Yep.
Especially against speed receivers. And the last thing you want to do with Jimmy Garoppolo is get him comfortable, where he's in rhythm and in sync, and there's the throwing the ball in space. I mean, then you're gonna be a deep shit because then he's a good enough to know when he's in rhythm like that. I mean, he'll light us up then.
Yeah, I mean, I love Marcus May, but at the same time, like watching him play at that level week one, it was also kind of frustrating because why couldn't we have both safeties back there, interchangeable, switching roles here and there, like doing their thing. But we decided to move on from one of them, and now May's a free agent at the end of the year. We hope that he stays, but who the hell knows.
Next comment: get pressure through the interior. I mean, up the middle would be great, and that falls on Quinnen Williams.
Henry Anderson, let's see if he could show up.
Yeah, I mean, they as a group last week, it was disappointing. I mean, you had some guys like Kyle Phillips doing things, but they've got to find a way to get pressure up the middle, move Garoppolo around, make him uncomfortable, make him throw some bad passes, shut down the running game early on and make them one-dimensional possible, and then you have a chance.
Yeah.
Let's see. A lot of Sam Darnold just slander. My goodness.
Bring it on.
I mean, another argument about Le'Veon Bell. I mean, he's not even playing. Now somebody's attacking me. This is great.
Bring it all on. We don't have
these are just haters now. They're just blasting us for just stupid.
I'll go back.
See. Nah, it's not worth it.
I got the time tonight.
The hate on Darnold is just criminal. The guy has no wide receiver. Joe Burrow has A.J. Green. Don't compare Sam's situation to Burrow's.
Not just A.J. Green. He's got Tyler Boyd. He's got T. Higgins. I mean, he's working with a number of wideouts there. So
we've said it endlessly throughout all our shows is that Sam Darnold has the worst situation out of all the young quarterbacks.
And he does. And that's why I'm not going to put all this pressure on him, at least not yet. I acknowledge the mistakes he's made, but
you keep saying pressure. What's the pressure? The pressure is Sam has to show up on Sunday and play well. That's not pressure. That's his job.
The pressure that he should be overcoming his head coach, who was hired here to elevate him.
No, it's just play well on Sunday. That's the expectation for Sam. Play well on Sunday. No stupid throws, no bad turnovers. Don't take a sack.
And who is most responsible for getting him to play well?
So when Sam is bringing his arm back and throwing it forward, does Adam Gase have a little remote control on the sideline? Is he winding him up and pressing buttons? How does that work? Like when the receiver's running wide open and the ball sails to the sideline, is that Adam Gase kind of hitting the button like B, bad pass? How does that work?
Did you see some of the easy throws that Burrow was making last night?
Did you see some of the easy throws Sam missed last week?
Not even comparable. The easy throws that we were talking about.
Easy throw is an easy throw, dude. A sideline pass. If you hit the coach on the sideline, it's not a good pass. Make the easy throws. That's all. Just the basic plays. We're asking for fundamental football. Just get through that, and we'll be happy.
There was a number of plays, probably at least a half dozen, if not more, where Burrow got the ball out of his hands right away, and yet the guy still had at least 10 yards right in front of him with nobody there. How many times that happened?
Complete the pass. I'm happy with that at this point. I'm not looking for 15-yard, just complete passes. And now it's bad when we got Tripp on YouTube because Tripp is always one of the crazy callers on our telephone. So now y'all got more excuses for Sam Darnold. I swear. Well, that's Kevin. Kevin's bringing out new ones tonight. This is like a Sam Darnold apology show now.
Because I'm not throwing Sam Darnold under the bus at this point. Not with what he's been working with. Not throwing him under the bus.
He's got to play better.
That's obvious. We all know that he's got to play better.
Not in your opinion. Nobody's saying too much pressure.
Nobody's saying he doesn't have to play better. Nobody's acknowledging not acknowledging the mistakes that he made week one. We all saw the throws that he missed, some of the rookie mistakes. I'm saying, why the fuck is this kid regressing? Why were some of the plays that he was making his rookie year he's not making now? Why is he thinking so much? Why, when he's working well and up-tempo, did we take that away from him? Why is there no motion in the offense? All these things like creativity. We don't do these things to make life easy on him. It's just a fact.
All right. Next comment. Dude, I don't know how you can say that. Gase's offense is fine. He's just a miserable head coach. Oh, my goodness. Miserable head coach. He's not a leader, man. The players need to execute. Okay, now, listen. I've been trying to get on Sam a little bit here, but Gase's offense is not fine. No motion, no movement, no creativity, no ingenuity. Vanilla, boring, predictable. I mean, run, third and long, incomplete pass or short pass, punt.
But Sam should put the team on his back anyway.
No, Sam should just play well, dude. I'm not saying put the team on his back. I'm saying make plays around you that are there. I mean, just try to be competent at least. Let's set the bar a little bit higher for him now. You're babying this kid. Holy Christ, man. Let's see. We got here. Let's see. It's not Darnold's fault, guys. Seriously, this team has been runners poorly since forever.
Running poorly. Yep.
Yeah. I mean, listen, if we want to go through the management of the roster and the ownership, we could spend another hour on that. I mean, I think Kevin and I both agree we don't like what the ownership does. We can question a lot of things about Joe Douglas right now, especially how he only drafted one receiver. I mean, can we assume that Cager's going to come up, or I mean, what are they doing? Like,
I would hope so. Him or Josh Malone, one of those guys, I would think have to be elevated because, yeah, I mean, you can't just work with Hogan, Berrios, and Perriman this week. That would be a disaster.
So apparently Michelle Soda's watching this. If she wants to comment, she can comment right away. I got a little text here. I'm ready to comment. Bring on your comment, Michelle Soda. We're ready for that too. I really don't care. Oh my goodness. Yeah, you can imagine Gase trying to relate to these players in the locker room. No chance. He's, I mean, it's just if you look at Gase right now, and you're going to learn a lot about this team on Sunday in just terms of how they come out of the tunnel. Do they rally? Do they fight for their team? Do they fight for their season? Do they fight to get back and make this game competitive, or do they mail it in? And like the one thing that the Adam Gase supporters last year said when we said he should have been fired was the team finished 6-2. They didn't quit on him. Well, if there's a time to quit on your coach right now, prime time, it's probably kind of now where it's like, listen, we got embarrassed. Everybody hates us. We're playing a tough team that's gonna be a little more physical than us. If the game starts out where they get down 7-0, 10-0, do they fold? That could be a case.
You really don't think they quit on him last year? In spite of the record, I felt like that was more the defense playing hard for Greg Williams to the end, not so much the offense doing anything different that it didn't do in the first half of the season.
Okay, next comment. Gase isn't the problem. The problem is our stupid owner and the new GM that is too busy at Krispy Kreme rather than sign legit players to pair with our young quarterback and coach. This is an interesting comment because I agree with this.
Wait, what?
I agree. I think the owner's part of the problem. He didn't spend money. And I think the GM kind of could have did more in the draft. I think we could have had 2 receivers in the draft. I would have brought back Robbie Anderson.
Stop.
I mean,
Stop.
Wait, hold, what? You didn't want 2 receivers in the draft?
No, I absolutely did. I wanted 2 receivers in the draft. I wanted Robbie Anderson back. But the first part, that Gase isn't the problem. He is the single biggest problem.
Oh, no, he is. I was talking about the owner. No, listen, we can talk about Gase for hours. I'm talking about the owner and the GM. The ownership, the Jets' problems start at the top with their culture. And Chris Johnson, please, if you guys haven't watched my video, watch it. Because Chris Johnson he defined the reason why the Jets are a shitty organization. It's like that. No accountability, no responsibility. They justify losing and they always make excuses. He's definitely part of the problem. Joe Douglas is at fault as well right now. And even right now, prime time, the 49ers just signed Mohamed Sanu today. Like, the Jets are needing receivers. Mohamed Sanu's not an upgrade over Josh Malone or Lawrence Cager. I mean, there's other, like Taylor Gabriel we talked about for a while. Hakeem Butler got signed somewhere else today. Like, all these guys are out there. To me, and the thing I watch now, this is how pathetic of a life I have right now. I watch the tryout list to see what teams are trying out who. Because to me, this fucking team should have 10 guys in every day. I'd have in endless corners, endless pass rushers, and endless wide receivers. And like, keep bringing guys until we find somebody that can actually play football.
We've been talking about that since August. Bringing in more wideouts, because that was when Perriman first started getting nicked up and Mims was only a day-to-day injury. We still said it. Bring more guys in here because you're one Crowder injury away. I remember you saying that. You're one Crowder injury away from being completely fucked. And here we are. So
okay, we got next one. Criticize Sam and he deserves it, but not to blame coaching is wrong. Sam's mechanics look horrible. The job of the OC and QB coach is to fix those. Well, it's a great comment from Vincent. Here's the problem. He doesn't have a QB coach. He needs a quarterback coach.
And whose fault is that?
Dude, listen, Kevin, I understand Gase sucks, dude. I don't like him either. He should have been fired last year. But the fact he doesn't have a quarterback coach is the problem. This is all part of the comprehensive problem. I agree with this. I'm not.
And that's why
I understand.
And that's why I'm not going to sit here and bury Sam or put all this pressure on him. I acknowledge he needs to eliminate rookie mistakes. I acknowledge he needs to hit open wide receivers when they're there. That's obvious. But expecting so much more out of him with what he's working with, the situation he's been put in compared to other quarterbacks in the league, it's fucking ridiculous.
Dude, I understand. Now I'm getting so people are watching this and now texting me. Like, just comment, man. Don't be scared.
I'm getting text too. I'm just not looking at it yet. I don't know if it's
so now. Next comment is this format is so much better than blog talk. Get Tyrone on. We're actually working on getting Tyrone on. Takes a little bit. We got to get the right microphones for him, but we're working on that. And I agree. This is so much more fun than blog talk. We're having a lot more fun with this.
Yeah, we don't got to listen to Steve for 10 minutes. Yeah.
And he hasn't figured out how to comment yet. Thank God. Gase will go away from what works if it isn't his idea. That's the level of arrogance we're dealing with. Well, no, the problem is it'll work once and he won't do it again. Like you will see on Sunday when Kyle Shanahan finds one kind of weakness in our defense, he will expose the shit out of it until we kind of find a way to adjust. Gase doesn't adjust, and he doesn't capitalize on things.
The perfect example was the drive right before the half, because we didn't move the ball at all in the first half against Buffalo. Yep, we had to go up tempo because of the clock, and we moved the ball. We got 3 points on the board. That was the first drive where we actually got significant yardage. I think we put up like 70 yards on that drive, which was more than half of what we had in the first half. Yet, how did we come out in the second half? Slow, methodical. Like, there was nothing up tempo about it. Like, they're just forcing Sam to think more and more instead of just reacting and playing, and that's what he needs to do, and that's what he did a lot at USC.
Well, and the weird thing is usually, and I'm going to give Gase a compliment, usually his scripted plays actually work. And then once the scripted plays are done, then they go to shit. Yeah. The scripted plays didn't even work, and he didn't know how to adjust to it. He's like, wait a minute, like, this is supposed to, like, his little, like, when his head's buried in his goddamn little pad like that, and he's drawing, like, cartoon characters and shit. He's like, wait a minute, this isn't working either. Like, the script's supposed to work. Clown. Yep. Gase is an egomaniac dummy. He really feels the system will work, and he won't deviate or adjust. That's the fact. We've seen that with Bell. We've seen that with other things. We've seen it with the running game where he doesn't adjust it to the players. I mean, and you're going to see the difference in the running game this Sunday, because now he's going to feature Gore. He'll feature Perrine, Josh Adams in the quick up the gut, that. Like, he's going to change the running game and say, you know what, I told you so. We don't need Le'Veon Bell.
Yep. Running back by committee. That's what he prefers. We all know that.
We got a Giants fan here. As a Giants fan, I wish you all the best of luck on Sunday. Thank you, man. We appreciate that.
Listen, I'm wishing Giant fans luck too. Right now, we're kind of in the same boat. You know, it's been a rough few years for both of us. So
I like Daniel Jones, man. I like the way he plays.
I didn't like the pick, but they made it. But I mean, yeah, he definitely showed some stuff his rookie year. I can't.
And they got Golden Tate, dude. I mean, how can you not like the Giants? And they got Golden Tate.
What's there to like about Tate?
And Julian Love. A lot of Notre Dame guys there. That's why the Giants they're rebuilding the right way. Unlike us. Joe Douglas is doing it right. Build the O-line first. Why get all the fancy receivers and running backs if you have no pocket time? How about you do both at the same time?
How about when you have your quarterback on his rookie contract, you try to win? That's what drives me absolutely insane, because I keep saying it. Like, you have a 5-year window there where your quarterback's not making a whole lot of money to really be aggressive and try to surround him with weapons, give him the best chance to succeed. And we have just done the opposite. It starts with Maccagnan, and it goes right to Douglas this past offseason. We have not done anything to surround him with talent. Nothing. Yeah,
I mean, like, you know, the year when they went Adams and May back-to-back picks, like safety. You could do that this year, like receiver. And I'm like, cool. Like, I'd be like, that's fine. Works for me.
And you know what would have allowed them to do that? If they would have been willing to trade a 3rd-round pick for Trent Williams like the Niners did.
Yep. How do I ask Nicholas, how do I ask a question?
You just did.
Type it, man. You just asked a question. So we just solved your problem for you. So not only do we answer football questions, we do technical support too. So that's even better. Why can't Sam audible into a play that will have a chance to succeed? Well, that we don't know. We don't know if he has the ability to audible or call plays. Nobody's ever asked that question, I don't think, of Gase, have they?
Well, that's
he can check out of a play, I'm assuming, right?
Well, that's funny, because the Twitter experts are telling me that the 3rd and 9 screen pass to Braxton Berrios last week was Sam Darnold actually audibling out of the right play that Gase called, and that it was all Sam's fault. So my response, I guess, to that would be, if whatever look he saw on the defensive side told him, okay, this is what I'm going to audible to, a 3rd and 9 screen to Hogan, where did that idea come to his head? Out of thin air, or is that something that he practices and that they go over in the film room? Probably the latter. So,
does Christopher Johnson even watch the damn games? He's lost, man. The Jets owner is lost. He is so goddamn lost, and he doubles down on mediocrity. Like, he is so far in over his head at this point. It's embarrassing. I mean,
he knows nothing about football, and to sit here and think that he can lecture us on what a brilliant offensive mind is just insulting. So I'm not even gonna. No.
Okay, now Tripp is going off the deep end. The job of the coach is to call plays, not fix damn footwork.
So then hire a quarterback that's going to fix his footwork. I mean,
no, but if the head coach is the offensive coordinator and the quarterback coach, because Dow Loggins is useless, then they're all responsible for your quarterback. If you see your quarterback with bad fundamentals, you fix it. It's your job.
Yep.
So Tripp, that's a terrible take. So now we're attacking our comments. This is awesome. Oh boy, yeah, Tripp's just lost. Now he's bringing up Sanchez. My goodness.
What do you say about Sanchez?
Next comment. Sam is a good quarterback, but he's lost his confidence. 1,000% true. And you could see it by his demeanor, and then you could watch, like you mentioned earlier, you watched Daniel Jones, you watched Burrow and Mayfield last night, you watched Gardner Minshew, Kyler Murray. When they take the field, Josh Allen last week. And I'll keep saying it, dude, if you were an innocent bystander and this was the first NFL game you ever watched in your entire life and you had no idea who these guys were, you'd be like, dude, this Josh Allen kid is great. Who the hell is this Sam Darnold bum? Like it was apples and oranges, dude. They were so different in terms of their playing style, their confidence. It's a big factor, man.
Totally. And again, whose job is it to instill confidence, to make life easier on a quarterback?
Next comment. By the time Douglas gets wide receiver, Sam Darnold will be out of the league. I mean, hopefully it's next year, but I mean, here. Next comment. The funny thing is we are so bad in so many areas. Literally the most exciting day for us will be the next upcoming draft and the one after. Well, I mean, let's be honest. The best time to be a Jets fan is the offseason because every time they draft a player, it's the best player in the draft. Like I guarantee you, next year in the draft, no matter what pick we have, it's the best player in the draft. Yep. The second round is going to be a very good player that should have been a first-round player. The third-round player is a steal. The fourth-round player is a diamond in the rough that nobody knew about. The fifth-round player is probably a Pro Bowler. I guarantee it. Lock it down now. It's already going to happen next year's draft.
You just described every pick, right? Bryce Hall, Zuninga, Cameron Clark, Ashton Davis.
Meanwhile, they're all still hurt. But
oh my God,
Jesus! No, this can't be true. Now we're getting trolls. Oh. I miss McCagnon over Douglas. Nobody misses McCagnon. Nobody.
You got the quarterback.
Maybe he got the quarterback. But we destroyed him in typical Jets fashion.
And at least he had Robbie Anderson here. He probably would have overpaid him, but at least he'd still be here.
Next comment is scary that Sam is dedicated and watches a lot of tape and he's still bad. Whereas Sanchez was bad because he didn't dedicate himself and was in GQ mags instead.
Oh, stop.
Well, I mean, Sanchez, they took away all his weapons and stuff. They completely destroyed him too.
Yeah, I don't think there was any reports about Sanchez not being a guy that was working hard or a team leader or anything like that. He had the one incident where he ate the hot dog after a win. And other than that, I mean, what did he really do off the field that was so wrong? Like you said, they took talent away from him. They took away Kashiri, replaced it with Mason. They took away Damian Woody. Damian Woody with Wayne Hunter, Plaxico for Braylon. I mean, as soon as you started taking away talent, you saw how your quarterback can plummet. And that's what we're watching right now with Sam, where he doesn't have talent. You took away Robbie Anderson. Le'Veon Bell's hurt now. Crowder's hurt. And I think we're going to see this Sunday. It's not going to be fun. Yeah, the one thing that people always – we had that Robbie Anderson debate the whole entire offseason. We broadcast live on Tuesday nights, in case anybody knows, on Blog Talk. It's a call-in show with phone callers. The Robbie Anderson thing is he had chemistry. They were growing up together as a combo. Like year by year, they grew up together. They grew up in the offense. They played together last year. They had like that symmetry. Robbie Anderson was opening up his route tree. Everybody said, and the funny thing is when he went to Carolina, fuck him. We don't need him. He sucks. He can't do this. He can't do that. Week one, he lights it up. We miss Robbie. He's a good receiver. It's like the same thing can be said about the comment below, which is only the Jets and Knicks trade young superstars on their rookie deals. We handled the Adams situation disgracefully. And the same thing was said about Jamal Adams. He's not truly a team leader, even though his first 2 years, he was everything that you wanted a team leader, face of the defense, what we called him, the heart and soul of the team. Yet, as soon as he kind of realized what was going on here and he wanted out and he forced his way out, he's just a safety. We're fine without him. You don't pay safeties that much money. Well, Seattle saw enough in him to give up 2 first-round picks. They're a good organization. So what does that say?
The biggest problem I had with that whole entire situation is I think if they really wanted him, he could have been signed way earlier on in the offseason. And all you had to do was have the conversation in late March, early April. Do you want to be here or not? Do you want out? How much money do you want? Cut to the shit. What's going to happen?
Yeah.
You want out? We'll make it happen right now. You get those 2 first-round picks. You get the value for this year right now. Like right now, we keep talking about having, well, not Henry Ruggs, he's hurt, but CeeDee Lamb or Jerry Jeudy or whoever else and Denzel Mims. Like, force the issue. And this is where, like, Joe Douglas, listen, I understand his resume. I understand his pedigree. I understand the whole revamp front office. You can make a very good argument they mishandled the situation drastically. And then Jamal Adams got pissed off and ran his way out of town. Yes, we got excellent compensation. I give Joe Douglas credit for that. But the compensation not doing jack shit for us now. Like
it's not doing jack shit for us now. It's not going to do much for us next year. And probably even the year after that, you might just be starting to see it have an impact. So by 2023, maybe if those picks hit, it's having an impact.
Next comment. You would think during games, Gase has a face mask over his eyes. I thought for sure at one point last week he did. I actually tweeted it out. I took a picture of him. Like all you could see was the brim of his hat and the thing. I'm like, this is why he can't see his book. He's either staring like this or the mask is over his face. So
unbelievable. Probably have better luck that way.
Let's see. Again, thank you to everybody that's joining us. We're doing these on Tuesday nights. We are live on a radio show. We do phone calls. Sunday, which apparently is a big hit. 1 hour after the game. The only reason why it's an hour after the game is we want to hear Adam Gase babble. We're back on here live, so check it out. We definitely appreciate it. Like Last Sunday was pretty wild. Sam is a hot and cold kind of player. Sunday, he will light it up against the 49ers and get our hopes up again, only to get embarrassed a week later throwing multiple picks. That's fair. That happened last year. He torched the Cowboys and then went right back into a shell. So that's the young quarterbacks are going to be high and low. You want to be more consistent, but you don't want to be where your high is 310 yards and your low is 170. You want to kind of even it out a little bit.
No, I completely agree.
Whether Adam Gase is a mastermind or not, he has to go. I can't stand how bad of a leader he is and the way he throws his players under the bus. 1,000% agree. That the biggest problem, and primetime, we've talked about this on Tuesday and Sunday, is the press conference. And the thing is, it's so easy to avoid all this drama and say, listen, you know what? I've got to be better as a head coach. I've got to game plan better. I've got to put my quarterback in a better position to win, succeed, make plays. He says, I called the right play. They didn't throw the right ball. And then when they asked him, would you redo anything? You look at your game plan. Would you change anything? Primetime, his answer was what?
Nope. I did the right thing.
Change a thing.
And, you could probably comment on this better than me because I was a little bit younger during the Parcells days. But it seemed like Parcells always had a way of calling players out in the media, but it was where they respected him and there was a fear level there that they wanted to go out there and earn his respect. Whereas Gase, he calls players out and they're just like, fuck you. Who are you to call me out? You've done shit.
They knew the thing with Parcells is they knew that he was a winning coach who demanded he got the best out of his players because his resume tells you he did. Like, you knew when he came in, it was his way or the highway. If you didn't follow his way, you're out the door. He didn't give a shit who you were. You were going to be in shape, disciplined, and follow the rules. And they wanted to succeed because they wanted that compliment from him. They wanted to be the guy in the press conference that said, dude, like Parcells just said I did a good job. Like, people gave Keyshawn a lot of shit. Keyshawn Johnson and Parcells are very, very good friends because Parcells demanded the max out of him. And he would I'd be at practice all the time. He would ride him. Keyshawn would make a great catch. He'd be like, you didn't have 2 feet down, man. You're slacking off. I'm like, dude, like that catch was amazing. But like he'd make you want to be your best. So you're one of his guys. Like you could be in that group of select guys that Parcells liked. You get the compliment. You know what I mean? You want that. You have that incentive. Under Gase, they don't care, dude. If Gase rips you, you're like, dude, this guy's a clown. Like he's exactly. Because he has the label of running guys out of town in Miami. He doesn't have a winning pedigree. Everybody thinks he's handed this job because of Peyton Manning. There's no respect there, man.
And the guys that he has run out of town in both organizations, the Jets and the Dolphins, have all done better away from him.
Yep. Next comment. I'm giving Sam a hard time, but he absolutely has all the tools to succeed. I'm just tired of waiting for it. I want to see it. We all do. I mean, we're tired in general of losing, incompetence, excuses, failures. The offense being terrible. Like, we're tired of it all. And the thing is, when we drafted Sam, we were all so excited. Like, this is our franchise quarterback. Like, right? We've been saying it like we finally have our guy. And primetime, we've been saying the same thing. Surround him with all the pieces possible. And going into this offseason, we're preaching, please get him some good receivers. Redo the offensive line. Get him playmakers all over the place so he can be like Kyler Murray and Josh Allen and everybody else that's doing well because they have weapons. We believe in him. Like, we're not doubting him. It's just now we're getting concerned because it's just all falling apart.
Yeah, I'm just getting concerned for a different reason because, again, what's around him and the head coach. But I completely agree that he has all the tools. We've seen it in flashes. It just hasn't been consistent. And I think there are a number of reasons for that. He's, partially to blame. But, putting all the blame on a 23-year-old kid with what he's working with, I think that's crazy.
Next comment. Oh, and why would idiot Douglas let Anderson go when he has a great report with Sam to save $2 million and bring in Journeyman Perryman? Well, you know what? I agree with that. But now Perryman has got to earn his check because now the going is getting tough here. Now you've lost Crowder, you've lost Mims, you lost Bell. If you have to feature Perryman, he's got to step up, dude. Like, he's getting this was Joe Douglas's guy, right? Isn't it? In theory, these are their guys now because last year they weren't their guys. Last year these were McCagnon's guys, so they could blame everything on McCagnon. So now if Perryman's a failure, if you let Robbie Anderson go because you didn't want to pay him, and you bring in Perryman, and Perryman can't hold his own as a number one receiver, that's on Joe Douglas.
No, it is. But I think that's also why they only signed Perryman to a 1-year deal because, they saw some upside there, but he hadn't done it consistently. It was only really a 5-game sample, in Tampa. Other than that, he had pretty much been a bust. But I completely agree. Not, re-signing Robbie Anderson or even, the fact that he wanted to leave and go play for his old head coach in Matt Rule instead of staying with, his current head coach who he knew in Adam Gase. I think that says a lot.
I think it came down to money. I think I think the Jets were just cheap, to be honest with you. I think if they made the right offer, Robbie would have stayed because it got drawn out so long. It dragged out and dragged out and dragged. If they really want him, dude, you make a statement. All right, you know what? 2-year deal, $14 million, whatever it is. You know what I mean? Like something to keep him, and they didn't because they signed Perriman way too quick when it was gone. Like it seemed like that was like their plan A, plan B, and they're trying to like negotiate finances. And Joe Douglas said, you know what? We're not going to give you the extra couple $1 million. We feel comfortable with Perriman. Okay, so you doubled down and said, you know what, we feel comfortable with Perriman. Well, then this guy has got to produce starting this week because we need him now because we have nobody else.
And that makes sense because of pretty much every contract that they signed this offseason, it was, kind of a bargain type of deal. Even with Jordan Jenkins, they waited that one out. That was one that we kind of praised him and Brian Poole. They got very good value on those deals, even though it was only 1-year contracts. But, Robbie Anderson, he was going to cost a lot more. And I think there were some legitimate questions about whether or not you should pay him as a number 1 as opposed to what I think he is, which is a very good number 2. And, to take a young asset like that away from Sam, it's not setting him up well.
Next comment. Gase wants to keep his job. He will do anything to accomplish that. He doesn't really care about winning. I mean, I think he cares about winning. I think he
just wants to do it his way.
He wants to do it his way. And when it doesn't go his way, he tends to give up, in my opinion. Like he gives up on his game plan. He starts mailing things in. Like I hated the way he handled the Luke Falk thing last year. I hate the way he handled Trevor Siemian. I hate the way at the end of the game, if they're losing by more than 10 points, his play calling is horrendous. Like I hate the way he does it. His mindset is just not. I don't know. He's just not a leader, man. He's just not a winning coach. He's just not.
I'm not going to say he doesn't care about winning. I think that anybody that's a head coach in this league, they want to win. It's just a matter of whether or not they're actually smart enough and self-aware enough to know what's working and what's not working to make the adjustments to actually win. And he hasn't shown that yet.
As a lot of Bills fans watch us, so we appreciate that. As a Bills fan, I was worried when the Jets drafted Darnold that we would have 10 years of tough games with the Jets. Now I don't feel that concern anymore. I feel bad for you guys. I feel bad for us too because you know what? To be honest with you, we're at least a year, maybe 2 years behind the Bills right now. We are because they rebuilt the right way. They got a quality head coach. You got a good organization, and Josh Allen is slowly but surely improving.
Before the year, I thought we were a year behind them. Now I'm thinking we're probably 2 years after the Adams trade, and who knows, when Mosley's coming back, and if he's going to be the same player. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
They didn't target Perriman much. Well, I know he was being double teamed, and then Sam just, I guess he missed some throws. He didn't see him, but now, if you have to feature him, right? It's either Herndon or Perriman.
Yeah.
And that's, I knew this question was coming. This. Jesus Christ. We've reached this point, and this is my biggest fear. First of all, Flacco's not healthy enough to play.
Yeah.
But, if we bench Sam Darnold for Joe Flacco, which is my fear by like week 7, that's just a legitimate problem at that point. Then we are rock bottom.
Yep. I don't even want to think about that.
I'm going to ignore all Tripp's comments because Tripp is just ripping every player.
Bring him on. Bring him on. I want to see what Tripp has to say.
Dude, it's terrible. It's just this is what I'm dealing with. Herndon trash. I'm tired of hearing about him. That's just a terrible take. That's like his 4th terrible take in a row, dude. He's ripping every player. Herndon's got a lot of pressure on him because we have a lot of expectations for him. He showed flashes. He was out all last year. And now, like Perriman, dude, he's got some pressure on because we don't have anybody else. You've got to be the playmaker that Adam Gase praised the entire training camp.
And again, Herndon, his rookie year, I think he had 39 catches. Towards the end, he was starting to stretch the field a little bit. Let's see that in this offense. Because in training camp last year, we saw it. We were there. We saw Herndon making plays almost every single day. And he never really got a chance to do it in the regular season. So I'm not going crazy over one game. But, he does have to step up.
Can someone on the Jets offense step up? It's been a decade. Come on. Dude. Robbie Anderson started to do that last year a little bit. He started coming on. You got to keep in mind, he put up decent numbers, and Sam missed, 3 games?
Yep.
So, that was kind of your guy stepping up. As of this year, who's it going to be? It's not going to be. Frank Gore could do something. I'm not counting on him. It's got to be Perriman. It's got to be Herndon. Berrios, in theory, is going to have a lot of pressure on him because he's going to be the safety valve. He's the guy over the middle that Sam would usually hit, like the Crowder role. Who's it going to be?
It's got to be Herndon and to an extent, Perriman. But I also think you need one of those, unsung heroes, whether it's a Berrios, whether it's a Lawrence Cager stepping up. You desperately need a guy, not even to be a number 1 or number 2 wideout, just somebody like a solid NFL wideout, a body that can catch passes, run the right route, and not screw up.
Yeah, Buffalo drafted a running back and 2 wide receivers in a wide receiver deep draft. One of those wide receivers that hit and had 6 catches last game. Gabriel Davis. Actually, listen.
And they traded a first-round pick for Stephon Diggs. That's how you surround your quarterback with talent.
We have been, if you've watched this show, listen to our show, we've been nothing but complimentary of the Buffalo Bills. They've done it the right way. It took them a while to find their coach. They found him. They found their quarterback they believe in, and they built around the right way. And they're giving him targets, and they're playing solid defense.
Yep.
You can't. I mean, we're honest.
I have nothing to hate on the Bills. I wish I did, but I don't.
3 years in with the franchise quarterback, and arguably worse than before, even having league leading cap space. Yeah, I mean that's basically where we are. I mean, we have $31 million, $34 million in cap space. We have more questions than answers, and we have a roster right now that's just struggling.
How do you try to sell to the fan base you're really trying to win when you're sitting on $31 million in cap space with the holes that we have?
When you have the weird thing is it's week 2, so you try to I was pretty bummed out today with the whole Crowder thing, but I'm watching the 49ers and they signed Sanu.
I know.
You mean to tell me Sanu couldn't help this team? Like we are so desperate for help. You bring him in for a tryout. Dude, seriously, I'd bring in 3 receivers every day. I'd bring in the CFL can't play in Canada. I'd bring in every Canadian receiver on the earth.
One topic we haven't gotten into yet. Would you make a trade if it's still an option for a guy like Allen Robinson or somebody like that?
No brainer.
Even if it keeps Gase here?
I'm not worried about Gase. I'm worried about Sam Darnold right now. Right now, the number one thing is you can bring Allen Robinson right now to help Sam save this season. Because the whole goal, dude, Gase could come or go. Our whole thing right now is to save Sam Darnold's career. Let him be the quarterback we can be. We can't afford 15 more games of this shit because guess what, dude? If he keeps dealing with this, the pressure, the bullshit, David Carr.
I completely agree about saving Sam, but I think you would also agree the biggest problem with this team right now is probably Adam Gase. And so if making a move is enough progress, getting a guy like Robinson leads to enough progress where, hey, 6-10, we're good. We can keep Adam Gase for another year, another 2 years. Isn't that doing more to potentially set Sam back than it is getting him a new coach?
Getting him that receiver, though, dude, just getting him in a flow of an offense and completing passes and just able to open up the playbook and use him. I understand what you're saying. Dude,
I've gone back. Yeah, no, I agree. I've gone back and forth on this one. I would love to see Allen Robinson a Jet, and I think it would help Sam tremendously. My biggest fear, though, is that it's just enough progress to say, you know what, Gase is doing a good job, and we're going to continue this thing for another 2 years.
There was a guy today that asked me, he's like, if you knew that Sam Darnold playing like shit for the next 15 games would let Adam Gase be fired, would you go for it? And I'd be like, no, because that 15 games could ruin this kid's career. You can't have a season, dude, when you're dazed, confused, you're lost. I don't want David Carr. Dude, this you got to see progress, man. You have to, because you know what? If he plays like shit for 15 games, you may fire Gase. You also may get Trevor Lawrence next year too, and Darnold could be gone. The trickle down of that is big, dude.
But going back to what I said earlier about continuity, Baker Mayfield's on his 4th coach right now in less than 3 years, and he just played a phenomenal game on Thursday night. So the idea of continuity, that you got to keep the same head coach, no. If you realize he's a problem, you have to move on from it. And so if you're bringing in a guy that allows you to make just enough progress to say, oh, you know what, we can keep him, that would bother me a little bit, because I think the end goal of getting Sam to where he should be, he's still 23 years old. He's younger than Burrow. He can still get there.
You have a general manager that knows what the fuck he's doing and realizes that your head coach isn't that good.
Is he going to fire Gase?
Dude, listen, this is a problem with the Jets organization. You have an owner just called him fucking brilliant 3 days ago.
There's so many fucking problems with this.
So next comment, after watching my team against Arizona, sure you guys have a chance. Well, here's the difference, though. Kyler Murray was running all over the field. Kyler Murray and DeAndre Hopkins are phenomenal athletes, phenomenal players, playing at a high level. Right now, the Jets don't have either one of them.
Well, why doesn't Darnold and this offense do more RPO? I don't understand. That was something he did a little bit in USC. I think he's mobile enough to do that. He is a pretty athletic quarterback, not to the extent that Kyler Murray is, but certainly you can get a little bit more creative with your game plan. And we're vanilla. Robbie
had one good game at Carolina. Suddenly he's a Hall of Fame quality running. No, that's not what we're saying.
No. Robbie Anderson is a very good number 2 wideout. And that's what I've said for years on the show. He's a very good number 2 wideout. He's not a number 1, but he's a very good number 2. And if you had the chance to keep him here for, $10 million a year, especially while we're sitting on $30 million in cap space right now, why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah, if anything, get Perriman and Robbie. Why not? Go for both of them.
Yeah.
Let's see. Gase is the destroyer of franchises. He traded Landry, ruined Tannehill, and traded Ajayi. The biggest problem with Gase, and it's so funny how the Gase defenders are all gone, the ones that attacked me all last year for a good, 2 months?
Yep.
Is that almost everything that happened in Miami is happening here. verbatim. Like every concern prompt. Remember when they first hired him and I went ape shit, and then people like, oh, we won't say who they are. We're out of like, you're so negative. You're a typical Jets fan. You hate everything. You're so narrow-minded. You're so stupid. I have, and the funny thing, I had the tweet saved because I'm that kind of prick that I will reveal sooner or later to expose all these people that attack me. That I can now say I told you so because I'll be that jerk for once. Dude, everything that happened there is happening here. The injuries, the problems in the locker room, the lack of accountability, all the things that Omar Kelly, the reporter from the Miami, the Sun Sentinel, all the things he said is exactly what's happening here. I mean, to almost to a T.
And the other part of it that he mentioned is that all of the Miami beat reporters never called it out. He was the only one that would call it out, kind of like Manish now. And that's the part that also drives me crazy is that you look on social media, Manish is getting attacked left and right. And I'm the furthest thing from, a guy that loves Manish. But, like, everyone's going off on him, yet he's the only one from the beginning that's really been calling this guy out and, this organization on what's been going wrong. He's the only one that's been fair about it. Everyone else is just throwing softballs at Gase. And, you got to give him progress, or you got to give him time, patience. Like, no, this is the same stuff that we saw back in Miami to a T.
Yep. I want to know your opinions on Daniel Jones. I like Daniel Jones, man. I thought, I'll be honest, when the Giants drafted him, I laughed my ass off. I thought it was a horrible pick. I thought it was horrendous. I thought, the general manager Gettleman was out of his skull. And then you watch him play last year. Kid's got a big time arm. He plays confident. He put on some muscle this year. He's got good command of the offense. Fumbles too much, makes some risky throws. But if you're a Giants fan, week one, you're encouraged. You're like, all right, this kid's a gamer. Like, he can play.
Yeah, I laughed too because the quarterback class before that was considered one of the top, quarterback draft classes in football, and they decided to go with the running back at pick 2. And they passed up Sam Darnold, who had a strong rookie year. So we were all sitting there kind of laughing at Giant fans, and yet Daniel Jones, he went out there without a great supporting cast last year. I mean, he had Barkley, but certainly the offensive line was shit, and he took some hits and got up, made some plays, showed a lot of heart. Nothing to dislike about him.
Now they all hate Barkley.
Can't pass protect.
JD isn't giving Gase weapons. He knows he's a gunner. I mean, that's a risky game to play, man, because now you're jeopardizing your franchise quarterback. That's the problem with that approach.
Yep.
So if that is the case, then that just shows you that this general manager doesn't know what the hell he's doing either then.
Yep. If you thought that little of Gase to not give him weapons just because you wanted him gone at the end of the year, do it last year.
Yep. He should have been fired last year. I mean, what happened last year was inexcusable. Yep. Seeing what Gase is doing to Sam makes me glad that we are sitting Tua even for a little bit just to learn. Well, the thing is, too, is Ryan Fitzpatrick gives you a good chance to win. Tua's got to get healthy, and he can learn. There's no pressure. I mean, that's –
But you know what? Sam was out there as a rookie. He was learning just fine.
Yep.
He was out there as a rookie.
Tua's hurt, man. You got to get him healthy.
Yeah. I mean, that's a completely different situation. But I'm saying, like, the idea that a rookie can't go out there and learn, at the same time while, learning the game of football and still making progress. I mean, Sam showed that he could do that his rookie year, and he finished off the year playing as well as any quarterback in football. It was only once we brought in Gase and started taking away weapons in the offensive line that he really started, to plummet a little bit like this.
Next comment. I don't blame Jamal Adams at all. I wish Joe Douglas could trade me. I'll be a Seattle fan. Seattle's a lot of fun to watch, man. Exciting team, flying around, championship level every year. Great coach.
I do not blame Jamal Adams one bit for not wanting to be a part of this. I hate the way he went out. I've said it numerous times, but to expect a winning player to just want to sit around and waste, more years of his career as a part of an organization that he doesn't see turning it around anytime soon. Why? What does he owe the Jets to stay here? He owed them nothing. He wanted out. He saw what was going on. He had no faith in Adam Gase or ownership, which we all agree is completely incompetent. And he wanted out, and he forced his way out. Good for him. He's in a good situation now. I have no reason to hate him.
So this comment from Sam, either he's not a longtime fan or he just doesn't know what he's talking about. Le'Veon Bell might be just worst Jets free agent signing ever, and that's saying something. Do we not remember Tremaine Johnson? I mean, I could name about 30 free agents that are much worse than Le'Veon Bell. The problem is that the coach first of all, didn't want him. Second of all, didn't know how to use him.
My response to that was just going to be go listen to what Damian Woody said 2 days ago on Le'Veon Bell. He was one of the best players in football ever coming to the Jets prior to getting to the Jets. And since he's been under Adam Gase, look what he's done. He's turned him into a nobody.
Yep. Next comment, Adam Gase. I'm so glad to have an owner like Christopher Johnson. What a two peas in the pod dumbasses we got here. Mo, do me a favor, man. I made a video 2 days ago. Go check out my video. It's my response to Chris Johnson, Adam Gase, and Joe Douglas. Two just morons. I mean, it's just,
and now we know why nothing changes. I mean, it starts with ownership.
there is no new culture. It's a
No.
lack of accountability. It's a lack of, and the thing is, I respond to something too, because apparently my comment about lack of a playoff mandate angered some people. Like, you can't expect playoffs from this team. Okay, fair enough. But my point was this: demand more from the team. Say, we need to be competitive week in and week out. I want to see improvement from both sides of the football every week, or by the weekend, like by year's end. Like, set standards here. Like, listen, this is just say it's not acceptable. Yeah. Like, this shit's not acceptable. Like, I'm tired of seeing it. I don't want to see it. Stop babying. Like, oh no playoffs this year. We have this. Like, dude, like, lay the hammer down, man. Like, set the bar high for this team. And that's the problem. That's the culture we have.
Expectations are so low, and we wonder why nothing changes.
I mean, so next comment. I think May will be as good as Adams by the end of the season. Then we have to pay him.
Oh.
Well, if he stays healthy for 16 games, he's probably going to put up a pretty big season in terms of stats. I mean, he'll probably be in that 8-9 sack range.
I was just told we don't pay safety, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Non-impact position.
It's going to get real interesting if the Jets are like 1-5, 1-6 at the trade deadline, how they handle things.
They could clean house, even more so than.
We overestimated how good Sam is. I don't think so. I don't think so at all.
Too early to say that.
Yeah, I think if you ask a lot of analysts like Dan Orlovsky, I follow him a lot, Brian Baldinger, Trent Dilfer, very high on him. They just say that the Jets have failed to put things around him, and they're disappointed in his development on and off the field. They're just disappointed, and he has all. He can make any throw. He can do it. He's smart. He's intelligent. He's a hard worker. He has all the skills. It's a matter of getting it out of him and getting things around him. I don't think we've overestimated. I think our expectations are fair. No.
I think so. And again, we've seen it in flashes. We haven't seen it consistently yet. But like I said, I think there are a number of reasons why we haven't seen it consistently, especially when you look around the league at what other quarterbacks are working with, from the head coach to the wide receivers and the offensive line. It's night and day.
Sam was always a raw talent prospect. Problem is, we didn't have the coaches to refine that talent and fix his problems. I mean, Jeremy Bates started to. I mean, then you take away his favorite receiver. It doesn't help anything.
I forget who made the comment a few days ago that, more quarterbacks are ruined than are actually developed in this league. And it's true. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that come into this league with a lot of talent, with a lot of skills, but not all of them are put into position to actually succeed with what's around them. And I think we're seeing that now with Sam.
That play where he ran out of bounds last game and took a sack was insanely bad. That play actually gave me rage. That one was one of, like, you sit there and you just look and you're like, that broke me. That probably created half my tirade last week, I think, right? I mean, that was.
Yeah, listen, I'm not excusing that play. It was bad. It was a rookie mistake. And for a third-year quarterback, he should know better. There's no excuses for that.
Let's see. Next comment. Again, thank you for everybody watching, giving us all these comments. We appreciate it. No, people are overreacting to Sam. This franchise has done nothing but to set this kid up for failure. Look at all the weapons Baker has, and he's not doing that good. Well, Baker did good last night. Baker looked great with Beckham and Landry and Chubb and all these like 3 different tight ends. And look at Kyler Murray, look at Josh Allen, look at Drew Lock, look at everybody else.
Everybody.
Not good. Even Daniel Jones has more weapons. Like, Darius Slayton's good. Ingram is kind of inconsistent. Golden Tate, Barkley. I mean, they got all kinds of playmakers around them. So
sad.
This next guy just wants to get me angry, I guess. But I'll do it because we're here for it. Hey, Tyson, talk about Jets ownership. What would you like to know, Slim? What lecture would you like tonight? There is no leadership. There's no guidance. There's no accountability. There's no direction. It's a mess. They are not qualified to be owners, and they're part of the problem, probably the biggest part of the problem. And the fact that they're going to watch Adam Gase destroy Sam Darnold like they did last year and not make a change is embarrassing. The fact that Joe Douglas and Adam Gase both directly report to ownership is a problem. The fact that Joe Douglas doesn't have enough power in this organization is a problem. It's endless. I mean, Kevin, you can say something too. It's pretty obvious that Adam Gase has too much say in personnel, and I don't give a fuck what anybody tells me. And that's a problem. And I fear that Joe Douglas does not have enough power to get out Adam Gase, but that we'll see this year.
Everything you said is spot on. Nothing I can really add. But the one thing I guess that you didn't touch on in your video that I wanted to make sure I mentioned, I'd be willing to give a little bit of a pass to ownership, even though this year it would be irrelevant because there's no fans in the stands. But the whole PSL thing and how they just completely destroyed the stadium environment for all the fans that do go to games. I mean, we're lifelong season ticket holders, like at least I am, and going back to the 80s and everything. And watching what they did to the stadium atmosphere, the stadium environment, like for the last 10 years, no playoffs, the last 19 years, no home playoff games, yet you throw in the PSLs, my old seats, which were, 2 sections over from Fireman Ed in the old stadium, they wanted $25,000 per PSL and $700 a game. And so all the diehards went to the upper deck. Now you see all the opposing fans invade the stadium week after week. We have no home field advantage, no stadium atmosphere. It's a joke going to games. It's not even fun anymore. So it's like, even if the product on the field was bad, in the old days, at least you enjoyed going to the games and you had fun. Now we're miserable before the game, miserable during the game, miserable after the game. There's nothing fun about going to games or being a fan anymore. And yes, it starts with ownership. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, they priced out all the diehard fans. The game day experience is a joke. They've changed so many things to ruin the experience. And they try to improvise and think they know how to fix it, and they don't. They have these town hall meetings that don't mean a goddamn fucking thing, doesn't change a thing. They send out surveys, they don't clearly matter. They have this image in their head, they think they know who they are, like this some like celebrity organization, and we're a bottom feeding, like we're a clown show.
Yep.
We
we were in Dallas a few years ago. I mean, that was a new stadium, and it felt like we were at an event. It was a show, like. And that was
Dallas, Green Bay, Baltimore, Tampa.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so much nicer, man.
Yep.
Rex was not a mastermind, but the players played for him. Well, he was a mastermind on defense. I'll give him that. His game management was questionable at times, but they played for him. They played hard. And, I mean, they had an identity, that's for sure.
I wouldn't even call him a mastermind just because, the defense has always tended to melt towards the end of games. But, yeah, I mean, the players always respected him and they played hard for him. And that was, I think, the biggest difference is that he could get more out of less. And we haven't seen one instance where Adam Gase takes more and elevates it.
Darnold can't succeed with Berrios and Perryman. Well, you got Herndon. I don't know, man. I mean, Perryman, but the thing is, Perryman is the guy that Joe Douglas brought in to replace Robbie Anderson. So that, to me, is telling me the Jets have faith in this guy to be a legitimate, proven receiver. So then this is on Joe Douglas. If Perryman can't produce, prime time, whose fault is that?
But even if Perriman comes close to producing what Robbie Anderson produced, that was still number 2 wideout production, which means we still didn't do anything to address our number 1 wideout. Meanwhile, our slot wideout is injured and Le'Veon Bell's injured. So what are we really expecting this week?
A win. Let's see. Pretty soon, if you guys want, we got about 20 minutes left. We're going to go through like predictions and stuff like that. So let's see what we got here. The Steelers didn't sweat for 1 second when they let Bell go. Plugged in Connor, never looked back. Jets got Bell anyway. Dumb. Listen, the problem with the Jets is they completely overpaid for Bell. I love the signing. I thought he was still a dynamic player. It's just been a calamity of just wrong system, wrong coach. It just hasn't worked out.
Yeah, I mean, the Steelers have the benefit of the fact that they can draft almost anybody and plug that player in, and they're going to succeed. But, the one thing I guess that's kind of changed over the last year and a half is that you've seen a number of running backs get paid. McCaffrey, kind of started, and there's been a few others that are kind of slipped my mind since. But you've seen running backs start to actually get paid to the extent that Le'Veon Bell got paid. So the idea that you can't have a dynamic running back making money, I think, is silly. It's just a matter of actually implementing him and kind of adjusting to what he does well. And we haven't done that. He's tried to fit a square peg into a round hole, and it's not working at all.
How do you have a delay of game penalty coming off a commercial break with no fans in the audience? I mean, that was just. There was like 3 plays last week that drove me insane. That was definitely one of them, man. That was just so inexcusable and that was so Jets.
That I'll just never understand because, like I said in the last video we did, like, even if it's Gase who's doing a million other things, looking in the playbook, whatever, who else is watching the personnel as it goes out there? You have a million coaches on the sideline. Somebody should be looking at what's going out there and saying, okay, something's wrong here. That's not the correct personnel group. And so yet you still line up and then you got to, dude.
Are the people giving up on Quinnen too early? No, we're not giving up on him, but our expectations are higher because now it's year 2. And the problem is, like, you hear like the reports, he's leaner, he's faster, he's more explosive. You hear all these things, then week 1 comes and you see him just not really generating much pressure. And we said the same thing last week, dude. It's like he could be a solid player, a solid contributor, but he may not earn that where he was drafted at and the money he makes. Very similar to Leonard Williams. I mean, that kind of player where he's good, but not the game-breaking pass rusher, the dominant, like Aaron Donald kind of player we all want him to be.
Yeah, I mean, especially with Bosa being taken right in front of him. I mean, that's kind of what you expect from a pick in the top 5, an actual disruptor, somebody that's going to change the game and wreak havoc. And we haven't seen him do that yet. I'm not giving up on him yet. He's still a young player. I think he's going to get better, and I think he still has a pretty high ceiling. But I don't think he's ever going to live up to being a 3rd overall pick, especially with some of the options that we passed on. Or whether we could have traded back, addressed offensive line, or went pass rusher. I think there was a number of different things we could have did there. Josh Allen. I mean.
Oh. Next question or next comment. Jets are lucky there's no fans in the stadium. It'd be paper bags everywhere. That's not actually true. It'd be 49er fans everywhere. That's what would be happening. It'd be a 49er home game. I've been to 2 49er Jet games in MetLife and Giants Stadium. It's been 60% 49er fans. It was
49ers, Cowboys, Steelers,
Raiders.
Dolphins, Raiders. I mean,
yep. Let's see if we go through. If you guys want to fire out your game predictions, your score predictions, start firing them out. We got about 15 minutes left because 2 hours is enough talking to prime time. I don't like them that much. Let's see. Douglas might have a different plan for the team. No Sam, no Gase. He would have tried harder this offseason if he wanted to win, collecting picks. I don't think that. I mean, that's really stretching it, I think.
I have a big problem with that. Again, like, if he wanted to have a long-term plan, I get that. But sacrificing Sam, when he was one of the reasons supposedly that you took the job, I think that would be a big issue. And again, if you didn't view Gase as part of the long-term future, get rid of him last year.
Yep. That's almost the equivalent of firing McCagnon after the draft and after spending $100 million. Like, if you have questions about Gase now, you should have fired him last year, like while the collapse was happening.
Yep.
Do you think Gase gets fired midseason? The problem with that is who's going to take over on the offensive side? Cooter, Sean Jefferson. We had this question last week. And I'll say this. If this team is at that point where you're 1-6, 1-7, and Sam is running for his life and things look desperate, you no doubt fire midseason. You have guys on the staff. Like, the problem with Todd Bowles, he didn't have anybody. He had the guy from UCLA, why was it, Carl Durrell? Who's the only guy that had any kind of head coach experience. Adam Gase has like 4 guys that have like experience on his staff. So you actually can do it and get away with it. But primetime, I'll say it. If it's a true train wreck where you're like sitting there like, holy shit, man, like this is easily one of the worst teams and they're playing terribly, not showing up, fire them.
Yeah, if you get to midseason and you're, like you said, 1-7, 2-6, and Sam has had several games that kind of resembled opening day where he's lost his confidence and he just looks completely shot. He's going backwards. Exactly. Then you have to make the change because those 8 games are going to be important to get a different voice in his head to see if you can still turn him around or not, or if you do in fact have to take Trevor Lawrence, which would drive me fucking insane, which I do not want to do.
Now we got fantasy football advice going on here. Herndon could be a fantasy start this week. You know what? I have him on my team actually, but I'm not going to play him. But you got to look at, there's 2 targets you're looking at here. I mean, Berrios could be a sleeper kind of guy where it's like he may get 5 or 6 catches because that's your safety valve. But it's got to be Herndon and Perriman. I mean, who else? What else are they going to do? Unless you're going to get Frank Gore like catches out of the backfield. Like, I don't have any faith in that. No. I mean, what do you do?
I think Herndon has to be featured. Yeah. So, I mean, I would absolutely look to start him. But, whether or not he's actually going to catch any touchdowns, I think might be different. He's going to get a lot of targets. But, again, production, I think, might be
I wish we had Bilal Powell this week on this team instead of that fucking guy from the Dolphins. But what do I know?
He's out there.
Kalen Ballage. We didn't even talk about him because I just think it's so disgusting. I mean, that's.
I'm surprised you weren't pissed that they put Adams on the where he's still on the practice squad now.
I know that's right. He scored a touchdown last week, man.
I didn't even realize this with the practice squad. Though I know there's been all the changes and everything. You can elevate guys, but once you elevate him twice, you can't elevate it. Yeah, you can't elevate him again unless you actually sign him to the roster. So I think that's interesting.
Shout out to Prison Mike, man. We appreciate it, guys. Please like their stream. This is very good content. We appreciate that, man. And just so you guys remember, Sunday, 1 hour after the game, win or lose. After Adam Gase is done addressing the masses, we will be talking to you. And I guarantee you, if this is a loss, batten down the hatches. Because last week was wild. I guarantee I'll be off the rails this week.
Yeah, I love this format so much more than Block Talk. So, again, shout out to everyone that's watching.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it. And now the comments just revamped. So I go back up to the top again. We got Justin McCarron's reference. I was actually a Justin McCarron's fan, man. Dude, I actually had a signed Justin McCarron's jersey. That's how much of a fan. I love that guy.
Didn't they give up a 2nd-round pick for him?
Yeah. He had so much talent. As a young player, just
couldn't. He didn't.
Huh?
He didn't have a lot of talent.
He just didn't work out, dude. He was tall. He had tall, great athlete, little speed to him. Just didn't work out, man.
No.
Another ripping Jamal Adams. I'm not going to get into Jamal Adams stuff. May's game and Jamal's role was really promising. They have to re-sign him. Well, before we do that, let's get about 8 games at him. Let's make sure he can do it for a long period of time. He's got to stay healthy, man. And the other thing is too is will he want to test free agency?
Well, again, we talked about this, a few months ago when Gase took the job. One of the first players that he put on the trading block was Marcus May.
Yep.
So you got to wonder if there's any, ill will towards that, any lingering feelings, if he'd want to stay here or not, or explore some new opportunities, kind of like Jamal, and just get the hell out. You really don't know.
Gase plays scared and it rubs off on Darnold. I mean, there's times where you just wonder that play before halftime last week drove me out of my goddamn tree. They played for a field goal. Like Gase wants to pin it on Sam Darnold and say he made the bad read. We've seen it before from Gase, dude. Before the half, he always concedes to the field goal. He never gets aggressive. He goes right into his shell, and that's what losing coaches do.
And again, if Sam made the incorrect read or he put the ball where it shouldn't have went, that's still partially on Gase because you have the ability to communicate with him and let him know, hey, this is where the ball needs to go. We're at this amount of time in the clock. Like, he has to be a better communicator with his young quarterback.
His throwing motion has had a bigger effect on him in the NFL than people are admitting to. I mean, Jordan Palmer's been working with him. Everybody's been praising him for a lot of improvements. And then the season starts and it's like, he's a mess. I don't really know how that all happens, but it's not good. I mean, it's just the footwork we saw last week and his mechanics, his decision-making was all bad. And I guess we'll see what happens, but it's not this is where you wish you had a better, stronger quarterback coach or guru on the team. But
yeah, I feel like the throwing motion was more of an issue at USC where he was kind of longer with the throws. He had some more fumbles. That really hasn't been an issue much in the NFL. So I don't know.
A lot of talk about his footwork, his technique. Anybody got some score predictions? We're gonna start getting score predictions here. A lot of just Gase, man. I mean, it's just crazy. So many comments. What's we got here? I still believe in Sam, but I think what time is proving is that Sam can't succeed in Gase's system. We can agree with that. I don't know how much more proof is needed to show that before ownership pulls the plug on Gase. Well, ownership just called Gase brilliant on Monday. So what does that tell you?
Well, again, if we're trying to look at it optimistically, the fact that they had to come out with the vote of confidence after week 1, that tells you that there's probably a little something there and it's not fully true. We've seen that before. So I don't know. I don't think they could tolerate much more of this and not do anything.
I think we're deluding ourselves about Sam. How long do we have to wait to see him realize his potential? This is year 3 and he's still playing like a rookie. Okay, you know what? Let's put Sam Darnold on the Arizona Cardinals. Let's put Sam Darnold on the Buffalo Bills. Let's put Sam Darnold anywhere that has the Broncos and see how he functions. Give him that kind of environment, that kind of coaching, and then we can truly evaluate him. And unfortunately, we're not there, and that's the problem. Now, this year's already becoming a train wreck. If it continues this way, I mean, you're worried about at what point do you get to like irreparable damage, where it's like the damage you're doing to him, he can't come back from. That's what you worry about, especially when it comes to pocket presence and being skittish when a pass rush comes. Not good.
I'm kind of worried about that, but then again, I was reading the Costello article where he was comparing, Darnold to Blake Bortles. So I started to do some research on some other quarterbacks, and the guy I mentioned earlier was Alex Smith, who suffered through about 6 years of not doing anything in the NFL, and he finally got his guy and was able to resurrect his career. So if Alex Smith can do it, both guys were kind of drafted at the same age. I think they were both 21 when they came out of the draft. They were both supposed to be number 1 overall picks. Alex Smith was. Sam fell to number 3. So I think there's some similarities there. And yeah, once you get him the head coach, I think that, a lot can change. So, do I worry about it? Yes. Cause seeing him on the sidelines last week, there's nothing positive to take away from that. You watch his confidence. It didn't look good. You hear his tone talking to the media after the game. Didn't sound good. But yeah, once you get him some weapons and a head coach, I still think he's young enough to turn it around.
This is an excellent point. We talked about this last week. We have no identity. What are we? Run first, pass first, West Coast. Defenses aren't afraid of any part of this team. Sam wasn't drafted by Douglas, collecting all these picks to draft Trevor. Well, I will say I agree with half of that. The first half is completely right. We have no identity anywhere. Like you go into this game on Sunday, we have no idea what we are. Are we a running team, a passing team? Our defense has no pass rush. We're somewhat good against the run, but we look like shit last Sunday. We don't know what we are. And that's the problem. And I don't buy this whole Trevor Lawrence shit. I think the reason why Joe Douglas took this job, other than getting his 6-year deal and his dream front office, was Sam Darnold. It was come here with the cap space, the front office I want, and this young quarterback that I think can be a star in the NFL. That's why he came here, man.
I agree. And I've seen a few comments about the Jets' identity that, oh, what are you guys talking about? They do have an identity. It's, bubble screens and short passes. That's their identity. 3 and out, punt the football.
Yeah, and this is another one here. From the press conferences between Gase and Greg Williams, we can tell why players respect Williams more. Absolutely.
Yep.
You saw that in Cleveland. When Greg Williams became the head coach in Cleveland Browns, the players loved him. They played for him and they won. You can make an argument he should have been the coach.
You saw it last year towards the end of the season where, a few of the games where the Jets won, you saw Adams and, a bunch of the other defensive players. I think even Le'Veon Bell was in there hugging, Greg Williams. Where was that with Adam Gase? You don't see any of that with Gase.
Who did you guys want as coach when Gase was hired? Matt Rule, Mike McCarthy, Chris Richard were 3 that we talked about a lot. We explored a lot. I was hoping like hell John Harbaugh became available. I was ready to trade draft picks for him. I didn't give a rat's ass about that. I mean, we had, if you guys don't know, we, like I said earlier, we do a talk show on Tuesdays too. We do a phone, we take live calls. And dude, we were talking about, we hated the whole Gase thing. We actually discounted it for a long period of time because we didn't think it was an option. We thought it was like, no, there's no way the Jets would hire Gase. He got fired in Miami. He got ran out of town. Nobody likes him, right? That's we discounted him as being an option.
I didn't think it would be an option just because of the options that were available, and the fact that there were actually legitimate coaches that wanted to come here. We had the cap space. We had the draft picks. Sam Darnold on his rookie contract in year 2. Like McCarthy wanted to come here. Matt Rule wanted to come here until you tried to dictate his staff to him.
Which is so fucking. Do you think Gase would go with a play action deep shot in the first play? Got to figure Niners would never think Gase would call that.
That's what I wanted last week.
Yep. I mean, you think about it, their game plan. We talked about this earlier. If we're going to Sunday specific stuff, is the whole game plan is for both teams: stop the run, make the quarterback beat you. Whether it's Garoppolo or Sam Darnold, who's going to make the throws to beat you? So why not? I mean, they're going to stack the box and go after you. So go for it. Why not? I mean, it can't hurt, man.
Yep.
Let's see. Jim Harbaugh. I wanted John. Yeah, I'll never forget this too. We're not really doing a game review, but when Gase was first introduced at his press conference, I knew we were effed. Dude, that was the most absurd press conference I've ever seen. Because like, as Jet fans, we have to start justifying things. When you hire a shitty coach that you hate, Cliff Kingsbury is another one. We all wanted him too.
Yep.
So you're like, all right, let me embrace this moron and see how I can tolerate him. And you watch this press conference. I'm like, dude, what the fuck is going on with his eyes? Like, what? Like maybe he's got like a nervous tick, or maybe he's like hyped up on some like Adderall or some kind of shit. Like, I'm like, what are we doing here? Like, and did nobody warn him? Like, put a hat on him. Like, dude, put sunglasses on or some shit. Or like, what are we doing?
The best part is as soon as he took his seat, you look over at Mike Maccagnan, who's just kind of staring at him as his eyes are fucking going off in his face.
Oh my God.
Maccagnan at that moment knew his fate was sealed. He was like, I'm done. Like, you could just tell. Like, his body language is just, I'm out of here.
Yeah, so we had that. Cliff Kingsbury was another one. Was Todd Monken was another guy I was mentioned a lot. We had like endless shows, all the coaches we want, and Gase was not high on anybody's list by no means. And then once we
I was saying, like you said, we all tried to justify it afterwards, just thinking, okay, he was an offensive mind. He had injuries in Miami. There were a lot of things that went wrong. If he's able to develop that chemistry with Sam, maybe he could be what, he was with Peyton Manning. And slowly but surely you see that all of those things, there's a reason for that, and it's him.
If Gase gets fired mid-season, will Greg Williams be head coach and Jim Bob Cooter OC? Why not? Go for it. Can't hurt. I have no problem with that. I do it tomorrow. I wouldn't even care. Let's see. Anybody? Well, here comes the score predictions now. We got some score predictions. We got to start. We've been doing this 2 hours, man. This stuff's been fun. Let's see. 31-13 49ers. I don't think the 49ers are going to score that many points, to be honest with you. I think this game, to be honest, is going to be a low-scoring, ugly slugfest. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. What do you think, Prime Time?
I do.
24-13 49ers. All right.
I'm mad because for weeks I thought it was going to be a blowout last week against Buffalo, and then as we started doing these shows and people are commenting, oh, you guys are being too negative, Jets are going to be competitive this year, I started believing it. I was like, you know what? We could be competitive in this game. We're going to keep it close, and it wasn't close. And I just think the Niners are a much better team, so I don't think this is going to be a close game.
28-14 49ers. All right. When Christopher Johnson talks to fans, does anyone just rip into him? I mean, you don't. People are always kind of nice to him. They always want to take a picture with him and ask him some questions. And like they walk through the parking lot. I've talked to Christopher. I talked to Woody Johnson. I talked to both of them. They're nice. They take feedback. They ask for feedback. And I mean, especially in these days when they know we suck. I mean, they kind of expect a disaster. So
Yeah, he said it himself last year in Miami. Oh, I hope the team shows up today.
Got 24-6 49ers, 35-10 49ers. Hey, dude, hey, dudes. I'll get this one here. Hey, dudes, as a Fin fan, I will tell you injuries are a hallmark of a Gase-led team.
Yep.
We know.
We're finding out.
Blue Mule, I will tell you that everything that's happening here, we predicted because we saw it happen there. And unfortunately, it's the story we're leading right now. 49-3 San Francisco. Holy cow. 34-17. Jeez. No, I'm not. 31-10. Not a lot of confidence here. 27-16. Oh, my goodness. Man, this is bad prime time. We're not getting a shot from these fans here. 40-7.
Oh, my God.
24-13. 27. I'm a 49ers fan, though, so we can't. Now we get positivity here. We're bouncing back.
There we go.
24.
We got one.
Why am I not seeing these comments in the chat? I don't know. We don't know how we're doing this. We're just trying to wing this. Yeah, we got some analysis here. Jets win 28-24. Garoppolo throws 2 picks and has a fumble return for a touchdown. Darnold throws TDs. Gase develops the most innovative, mind-blowing scheme ever devised. Well, obviously, he's been
even reading that, I can sense the sarcasm that he doesn't even believe it.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see. Is Ryan Griffin healthy? Yes, he is. He's back. Hopefully, they use him this week. It'd be nice to use both tight ends this week. Jets 27-14. Gore runs for 120. May a pick 6, and Herndon gets 100 yards with a touchdown. Woof.
Wow.
That's some bullshit.
I will say this, for the 2 predictions that the Jets win, they both have the defense scoring a touchdown, and I think that's what it's going to take. Whether it's defense or special teams, we're going to have to get one in order to win this game.
21-3 Niners. Let's see what we got here. Let's see. Oh, 31-20 Jets. Then I turn off. That's outstanding. Let's see. We got 45-0, so Gase gets fired. Oh, my goodness. All right, prime time. I think it's time for us. Oh, 38-0. My God.
God.
I couldn't even imagine sitting through that. I can't even deal with that. All right, prime time. As we wrap this up, we've been here 2 hours. Oh, yeah, we'll do a couple. What are your opinions of Jimmy G? You can go first. I'll give you mine. Good.
I mean, I kind of view him the same as Josh Allen, not an elite, top 5 quarterback, but certainly a good enough quarterback to win. You got him to the Super Bowl last year. So, yeah, I mean, I think you can force him into some mistakes. But, again, he's surrounded by a good coach and some quality weapons, even though, you got Kittle and some other guys out right now, Deebo Samuel. I think he's got enough to work with, especially in the running game, where he could be effective and just limit his mistakes and manage the game.
Yeah, get him out of sync, man. Get him out of sync. Stop the running game. Get after him. Pressure him. Make him move around the pocket a little bit. He could be a little bit erratic. He could be a little consistent. I'm not a big. I mean, I think he's okay. I'm not I don't think he's a superstar.
Yeah,
he can win it in Kyle Shanahan's system. That's for sure. But I think this. I mean, he's not going to be the reason why the Jets. Well, I'm not saying that. We'll see what happens.
We thought that about Josh Allen too. So.
Gase will draw out plays for Frank Gore like he's in his early 20s. Well, that's a fact, man. That is complete fact. You can see that happening.
Yep.
38-31 Jets. 24-20. Oh, Sam Ficken shocks the world. 24-21 Jets. Was that 8 field goals? Can you imagine? Do you miss Todd Bowles? No, I miss offensive football. I miss watching a competent offense where we can throw for like 300 yards, have 120 yards rushing. Like I miss being like the rest of the NFL, dude. Like you said it earlier, man. You watch NFL games, like why can't our team be like that? I feel like we're like in Pee Wee football and the rest of the teams like, everybody else is the NFL.
I hate watching other games, to be honest, because it's just a constant reminder of how far behind we are from a lot of other offenses right now.
Should Joe Douglas try to trade Marcus May? No, it's week 2, man.
I mean, it would fit the trend. You got rid of Adams. You're getting rid of everybody else that has talent. You didn't sign Robbie. Might as well.
10 San Fran. All right. I think we've hit our peak with comments. All right, prime time. Wrap things up. Your prediction, little game analysis of the prediction. What do you think?
All right. I hate to do it, but I'm going 30-17. I think it's going to be worse than that, kind of like with Buffalo, where it's probably like 30-10, 30-7, and we get 7 to 10 points, garbage time in the fourth quarter. I don't expect this offense to play well. I think the Niners front 7 is going to get some pressure. They're going to look to shut down Gore in the running game. I don't think Sam's confidence is where it needs to be to overcome the injuries to Crowder and Bell. And defensively, I still think we're going to struggle. Trying to replace Jamal Adams, it's not going to be easy. We saw that last week. The arm tackles and all that didn't look good, didn't look inspired at all. I still wonder where the pass rush is going to come from. So yeah, I think the Niners are going to be able to run the ball. They're going to put up points, and
look at that feedback right there. That's some solid feedback right there.
And I agree. And I hate being negative. I don't like talking this way about my team, but I feel like I would be doing a disservice by trying to come on here and say that the Jets are going to win this game. So,
all right. So this game is going to be interesting, man, because I think there's a lot on the line for both teams. The 49ers got to get back on track, and the Jets have got to salvage themselves because everybody's quick to turn on them, wants to fire everybody and cut people, and there's a lot of pressure just to show some kind of pride. So I think it's going to be hard fought. It's going to be physical. And I think the injuries on both teams, like having no Kittle and Sherman's big, the Jets having nobody is big. But I think it comes down to just defenses and then play calling and quarterbacks. And for some reason, dude, I think this is going to be a game in the fourth quarter. I think it'll be a hard-fought game, dude. I don't think the 49er defense or the 49er offense is going to do all that much either. I think they're going to struggle too. I mean, they'll be able to run the ball. I mean, I think they're going to get like 14, 17, maybe 20 points, but they're not going to score 30 or 40 points on us, I don't think. And I think the Jets are going to find a way to dink and dunk and do some things. Adam Gase is going to rally around Frank Gore. He's going to use Perriman. He's going to use Herndon. He's going to inspire us. Sam Darnold is going to rally. Are you ready? You're not ready for this, are you?
You're not going to do it.
I am going to do it.
No, you're not.
The Jets, the New York Jets, one of the worst teams in football, are going to rally 20-17 and win the game.
Wow.
You heard it here first.
All right. Hope you're right, man. I hope you're right. I would love nothing
I just think,
more.
dude, this locker room has got to be angry as shit. And they're playing, dude, they lose this game in embarrassing fashion. Do you understand the wrath that this organization is going to face?
I do.
And if they believe, and listen, I've been wrong a million times. There's always like 2 games a year the Jets shock us. Then they'll lose like a winless team, which they always do. And they'll probably go 4-12 this year. There's 2 games a year that they usually win. And for some reason, I have a funny feeling this is going to be one of them. I have a weird feeling.
If they were fully healthy and Perriman had some chemistry with Sam, a full training
Perriman's
camp.
healthy.
Well, I'm talking about a full training camp and actually
Josh
time
Adams.
to get sync. And if you had Bell and Crowder out there, then maybe. But I think there's too much to overcome. And
shocking the world on Sunday.
And the difference between the head coaches, Shanahan can adjust. Gase has not shown that he can. I think that will be the biggest difference.
Imagine Darnold outplays Garoppolo.
I think he's more talented than Garoppolo. But
see, now you're buying in. We keep convincing you. First of all, it is us against the world. I'm with you, Bell. Us against the world. We're gonna silence all the haters. Thank you for everybody watching. Sunday, 1 hour after the game, tune back in, and hopefully it's a win. Because if it's a loss, we got some more. Look at happiness on the screen. This is great. Prime time, fun as always, man.
Good talking to you, man.
See you Sunday.
Can't wait.